Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Celtics seize control of their Game 2 against the Magic, even without Jason Tatum, on their way to the 109-100 win in their first-round series. Second game, Jaylen Brown went for 36 and 10. Kristaps Porzingis added 20 and 10, while Derek White threw in another 17 points as the Celtics took a 2-0 series lead. Game 3 will be in Orlando. No word yet on the status of Jason Tatum. Elsewhere around the NBA, the Cavaliers beat the Heat 121-112 last night. They're up 2-0 in that series, and the Rockets even their series with the Warriors 109-94. Jimmy Butler left that game in the first quarter with an injury. Also last night, the Red Sox, they fell to the Mariners 8-5. Tristan Casas did have another 3-run home run. They'll finish up that series tonight. Garrett Crochet on the mound for Boston. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by Catches Law. Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit catcheslaw.com. I'm Mark Dondero for Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Another update in 30 minutes.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT booting up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fat and having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
You guys think I'm horny in the afternoon?
The contestants, the candidates from yesterday's Sports Hub Deathmatch Draft. That will continue today.
Oh, yeah.
We got 3 more rounds today. And what I have decided, and I have only, I think so far mentioned once, is that there will be many more candidates available to round out the deathmatch teams. But there will be players left undrafted. That's right. So, there's a full recap. There's been a lot of analysis of the teams drafted.
There are a lot
so
of good
far.
players available. A lot of good players still available.
This is
I'm
not-
from the streets. I grew up in Brockton.
It's Toucher and Hardy with no Fred, no Wallach. Let's quiz Mark Dondero right off the bat here, as he joins us the show this morning. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, guys.
Mike,
Hey, Mark.
Good to be with you.
Michael Holly back here.
Yes, yes.
John Wallach. I don't know where he is right now, but he was going to Paris and then to Luxembourg. Do you know what Luxembourg is?
Is that Germany?
Perfect. Thank you.
Good.
Perfect.
Good.
Perfect.
Good answer.
I believed, and not that I had strong beliefs on it, but had I been quizzed, I would have said, what is that, in Austria? What is it, in Germany or something? It's a country.
It's a country.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I
was a
didn't know
country. No.
So that's where
No.
Wallach is.
Okay, good for
Hey,
him.
how will we do with geography in general? How are you with geography in general?
You Jeopardy watcher?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I am. And I usually, I'm like around 200, 400. As the numbers go up,
Dude, I'm your 246 guy.
Struggling.
I am solid on the 2s and 4s, and I'll throw you an occasional 6. When the categories come up, world geography.
you're all over it.
Well, and we're Jeopardy nerds in our house. I would say majority of the nights as we're sitting there eating dinner, and now we've gotten the kids conditioned now to where they actually kind of don't moan as much when we turn on Jeopardy. We have them all recorded. We record it every night. We'll go back, and so we're like a month or 2 behind, but we still watch them in order, right? And there are audible sounds made when the categories are announced. Pop music. Yes.
Got that one.
Yeah. Movie titles. Yes. World geography. Books of the Bible.
Classic literature. Hey, so
Poets of the Romantic era.
I'm not putting all my money on that one. Especially Final Jeopardy. You're behind, and you tell somebody, "Yeah, go ahead, put everything on it. Go ahead, and do it."
The Lakes of Eurasia. Can't do it. Not going to help you.
So about U.S. geography, like what was it? What was
geography.
it? Fourth grade,
U.S.
right?
geography, I'm solid.
You got it. Like capital.
Yes.
Like you should you got that right.
State capitals?
Yes.
Capital of New Mexico.
Albuquerque.
Wrong.
Santa Fe.
Yes.
Okay.
But
There you go.
you're already screwed. You're down $400.
But he's still in the neighborhood. I mean, you're in the neighborhood.
I mean, it took me a second to get back. I got to get back,
He's in the same
Damn
state.
second.
You want to give him half the money?
How many places in New Mexico could there be? So you got it.
You know, you're right about that.
How many really?
There's only about
How
3.
many really? Could you really have a capital?
Nice place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live there.
12 and I both worked at the same radio station, same job.
In New Mexico?
Yeah, in Albuquerque.
Same radio station,
What?
same job. 2 years removed from each other, never knew each other until I moved to Boston over 20 years ago.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we had very different experiences there. I was single, 25 years old when I moved there. Moved from Michigan, drove my 88 Jetta from East Lansing to Albuquerque. Broke down twice on the way there. And the second time it broke down was in Rolla, Missouri. And it was 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning. And the starter had gone on this Jetta. And a tow truck driver came out, and he banged on it with a crowbar until the teeth on the starter caught, and he got it going. I'm like, oh, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But
I
I can't stop now.
Is there?
I'm afraid to stop.
Well, is there any place to get this fixed? He's like, a Volkswagen starter on a Sunday morning at 6 a.m.? He's like, no, you're going to have to wait till tomorrow. And I said, well, I'm supposed to be at work in New Mexico on Tuesday. He said, you better get going. He said, as long as you don't turn it off, you'll be all right.
It's okay.
So I drove from Rolla, Missouri, straight through to Albuquerque.
How long? From there to from Missouri to New Mexico.
I mean, I can tell you I got in around 3 a.m. New Mexico time. So I don't know how many hours that is. I stopped twice.
Kept the car running.
Kept the car running, cracked the window. It was February, so it was cold. But I didn't want to die of carbon monoxide poisoning, and I cracked it in a rest stop to try and sleep a little bit, and stopping for gas, I couldn't turn the car off. So one place wouldn't let me pump. They could see that my car was still running. They said, "You got to turn your car off." I said, "I can't turn it off." They said, "Well, then you can't get gas here." I said, "Okay." Went across the street until found somebody that wasn't watching, and did that. So I don't know. Look it up. How many miles straight through did I?
Oh, man.
Let's see. Rolla, Missouri.
See,
to
and you're in a part of the country,
New Mexico.
Dondero, you're in a part of the country where people will help you.
Yeah, that was.
See, like Missouri. That's aren't they? Is that the show me? Is that the show me state?
Show me state.
Yeah.
So maybe they're a little skeptical, but they're nice.
Sure.
937 miles.
That's nothing.
13 hours, 26 minutes.
Yeah,
There
that's
you go.
nothing.
But I had already driven, you understand, from that point from East Lansing to Rolla.
But you're 25. You're 25, young, strong. You got a job waiting for you. Your whole life ahead of you. 900 miles.
Oh, yeah. So that's my point.
is
When
nothing.
I got to Albuquerque, I was like, thank God. I made it. I'm here. And I had a great 2.5 years there. I was snowboard in the morning, play golf in the afternoon, occasionally work. Wow. I was just doing whatever I wanted to do. 12 was. Were you married already?
No, but it was in a relationship with who would become my wife, and moved out there. Yeah, a couple years after you'd been there,
Which ended in divorce.
Yes.
Not during the trip.
Why
or
did you bring
anything.
that up?
much later.
Because it's not this
It's-
fairy tale romance that lasted forever.
Do we
They're
blame
divorced.
New Mexico?
He's a divorcee.
It's New Mexico's fault, right?
No,
No,
Unlucky
you
in
blame-
love.
That wouldn't have happened in Missouri.
No, yeah,
I'm
right,
saying he moved out there with a woman who would become his wife, who is no longer his wife. Sad, tragic. This thing had disaster written all over it.
You sound like you're really broken up about it.
She bore
Hardy.
him 2 wonderful children, but beyond that, it's not a happy ending, Michael. For me, I spent a couple of years in New Mexico, and then I moved to Vegas, where I had my tragedy happen out there. That was where things started to go bad for me. And then, but I loved it. I loved New Mexico.
Yeah, it was great. The food is what we miss the most. We talk about it constantly.
But there are other aspects of living there you didn't like.
No, I mean it's very growing up on the East Coast, and it was different from you because you grew up in the Midwest. But I'll give you an example. So growing up on the East Coast, when I moved out there, it was my first time living away from home, and it's very odd to live in the middle of the desert, especially when you grew up in a place where, okay, so if I leave here, the station's in Waltham, right, and I get on the highway, and then I end up in, whatever the next town is, Bedford or whatever, Burlington and Lexington and all that. You leave Albuquerque and you drive north, and you end up in Rio Rancho, and then you end up in Bernalillo, and then you end up in the middle of the desert. And there's just it messes with your brain where you're like, well, where am I? Well, you're in the middle of the desert. Well, is it a town? Is it a city?
No.
It's none of those things. It's the middle of nowhere. And you'll see a house and you'll be thinking, who lives in that house? What do they do for work?
Meth cook.
Do they have electricity and plumbing and things like that? No, of course they don't. So it's very much still there are little pockets of what would be called in American history, the Wild West, the untamed West still exist out there.
Is it one of those places where if you ask somebody how far something is, they'll tell you it's close, but in reality it's like 70 minutes away?
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds like Houston.
Because it's a different everything. Like here, Mark, you drive 40, pick a direction, drive an hour, you're at the beach, you're in the mountains, whatever else.
Another state.
Pick a direction and drive in an hour there. You're in the middle of the nowhere, and you have to drive another 5 hours to get to Denver to the north, or, someplace in Texas you wouldn't even want to go to, if you drive east or whatever.
I lived in Columbus, Mississippi, and when I got there, I asked somebody if there was a movie theater nearby, and he said, yeah, it's down the road. And I looked it up, and it was 75 minutes away. Because it was in Birmingham, Alabama. So where I'm from, as you know, it's 10 minutes.
You lived in Mississippi, and they told you that it's right down the road, and the movie theater was in Alabama.
Birmingham. It was in western or eastern Mississippi, so that was western Alabama. So
But it's in a different state.
Different state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, right around there, I think Alabama, Mississippi, there's like a time change.
Yes, I wasn't. I wasn't right there, but I was close.
Like one state is in a different time zone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go see the movie.
I went and saw The Gray. It was the day before the Patriots lost to the Giants the second time. I remember that. It was an awful movie. If you like death and morbid.
What movie?
The Gray.
Liam Neeson. The Liam Neeson. Yeah, the Wolf movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was no mas.
That is your category. Like you just. Just saying, how did you just pull that out of nowhere? Oh, yeah, I know that movie.
Because he's seen every movie.
Every movie. Oh, yeah. Liam Neeson. Yeah, I know that one.
But there's always that handful of movies that everybody's seen that you've never seen.
Oh, I'm the king of that.
I've still never seen The Goonies.
Yeah.
I've seen parts of it. And
that's surprising.
But I think I'm
it's a classic.
2 years too old for that. I missed, the Goonie craze where everybody, I would say, 52 and younger has seen the Goonies multiple times. I've never seen it all the way through.
But you never wanted you never saw it with your kids. When your kids are a certain age, you're like, hey, you got to see this. Even though I didn't see it when I was
too
at this
many
age.
other important movies that they need to watch first. They need to watch Midnight Run. They need to watch Heat, which is a tough ask for kids.
For a kid.
Yeah, but seriously, come on, watch this interaction between Pacino and De Niro here in the diner. Kids, gather around. So you're going to enjoy this.
You wanted them to have real movie knowledge. Skip over all the kids stuff, Cars and Cars 2.
Okay, so the two that I've really sat them down and said you need to watch this. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which I think my daughter tapped out on. She just couldn't do it. But
you had to. But Pee-wee's, you had to be there. Right. For Pee-wee, you had to be there to get it.
Apparently, but my son watched it just for this is just weird enough, and goofy enough for him to like. Conversely, Napoleon Dynamite, which my older daughter enjoyed. My son's like, I don't know what this is, and my name's Paul, and that's between y'all. And he's just out. He's just walked away from the TV.
No, I'm surprised. Because that's a classic.
Did you? Okay, do you remember seeing it the first time though?
Yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite. Did you get it? Did you fully get it the first time?
I probably still don't get it.
It's part of its charm.
That's right. You don't really get it. It's just kind of funny.
I told my mom to watch it, and she called me after. She said, "Robert, that was the dumbest movie I have ever seen in my life." Click.
Tell me about this Uncle Rico. What's his backstory?
Uncle Rico's the best. He's got a whole second career now thanks to White Lotus. That's Uncle Rico.
What?
Uncle Rico has been in all. I think he's the only character who's been in all 3 seasons of White Lotus.
So who is? Wait a minute. Who's Uncle Rico in White Lotus?
Okay.
Who is he?
Jennifer Coolidge's husband.
That's him.
It's Uncle Rico.
John Grise is the actor.
I should have known that.
Yeah.
He
He also plays Wolfman in The Monster Squad. You remember that one?
Well, he also plays the mobster's sidekick in Get Shorty.
Yes.
So there's the lead limo driver, mobster, drug dealer guy who is also West Indian Archie from Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Great actor.
Great.
Can't tell you his name, but it's him and Uncle Rico are the 2 guys that are trying to kill John Travolta.
Delroy Lindo. Come on now. Give me some.
Excellent. Look at
No,
you.
no, he's
Look
great.
at
though.
you.
He's great. He actually was. He's been in a couple of Spike movies. So he was West Indian Archie. Great character.
That's a great character.
But he also played the dad in Crooklyn.
Didn't see Crooklyn.
You didn't see Crooklyn?
Didn't see Crooklyn.
Can I make an admission? Yeah, and I'm not proud. I'm not a big movie guy. It's not like I haven't seen any movies, but I try. So I tried to.
Well, you can do the headlines from the other studio.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit in here with
Okay.
us. You're gonna be left out of a lot of conversations today.
So I tried to start Heat. I tried. This is before the Masters, and the Masters started, so I got sidetracked.
Okay.
And I'm still trying to watch Heat. So it's been about a week and a half, and I'm still not finished with Heat. It's just.
It's not grabbing you?
It's not grabbing me. It's slow to kind of build up. I mean, I thought it was a little awkward to start, to be honest with you.
The initial heist of the armored car is
That was a good
slow
scene.
for you.
No, that wasn't. I don't know. It just. I don't know.
It's number one. It's Michael Mann, so you're either in or you're out.
Yeah,
with
it's
his whole style, and I'm in. I'm all the way in on Michael Mann movies. That's number one. Number two, it is not a movie that I will turn on and say, "Oh, I'm watching this now." If it's, say, for instance, the scene in the restaurant when Al Pacino is speaking with his wife or soon-to-be ex-wife, like that goes on a little too long. I can tap out of that one.
Yeah, and how does that happen too? Like some of these, when you're editing on as you're watching, you're like, okay, where are we going with this? Why is this going on so long? Didn't somebody say, all right, that's enough? But what year was it made? What year was Heat made?
I'm gonna say
90.
I was gonna say 97. You think it's earlier?
Earlier. I think
Because
it's 95. I'd say.
I would guess, and I'm not talking about the art.
95.
I'm not talking about the art house type
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
I'm talking about mainstream movies. I think this is just anecdotally, the earlier the movies are made, the more like the longer and the more loose we are with films like with scenes.
Yeah.
Like they're modern movies, scenes don't last that long.
That's a good point.
Jump cut, okay, next. But you go back to the 70s and 80s, a scene will go on for a long time. It's just it's not modern movie making.
You ever try to watch Serpico?
Yeah, it probably was. I was on a kick, so probably it's been probably like 15 years.
That might be the king of movies with scenes that go on too long, and it's Sidney Lumet. So there are like wonderful moments in it, but like holy crap, could someone sit down in the editing bay and like chop an hour off of this movie?
Different era.
I could.
Different era.
I could do it for you. Like, let me in there. It doesn't need to be in there. It doesn't have to happen. There's a great documentary about editors where Martin Scorsese, I think he's used the same woman to edit his films, like, if not all of them, like lots and lots of them. And all these directors.
What's that long one he just made? What was the one?
Oh,
that went on for hours and hours.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Metropolis?
No. That's Francis Ford Coppola.
Right.
No, the flowers one. Something about flowers.
Yeah, it went on
Come on.
forever.
What the hell's the name of it?
I can't even think of it.
But all these directors in this documentary say the same thing, like, oh, the editor has total control of the storytelling. And a lot of them will say the worst thing you can do is if you are Killers of the Flower Moon. That's the one you're thinking.
And how long is it? It's long.
You have a computer in front of you,
that's
too,
right.
Michael.
Well, yeah, I have a computer in front of me, but
What are you, Maz? I'm Murray.
like
You're
the
just-
like the doors in this building, not available, not open to me. My computer is locked.
206 minutes, which sounds like 3 hours and 26 minutes. Too long.
Too long.
But the worst thing you can do if you're a director is edit your own film, because you know it's like, oh my God, it took us a day just to light this scene, and it took us 23 takes to get that, that one shot, and, it's got to be in the film. And if you've got an editor who wasn't on set, wasn't there for any of it,
They're like, sorry.
this doesn't move the story along.
Let's go.
Like, that
first
scene
set of
didn't
eyes.
make the cut. Like, you got to trust me. It does nothing to tell your story. And in fact, it hurts it. And is boom, it's on the cutting room floor. I'm done with it. So maybe he didn't use her.
See, I'm more of a music guy. It's still awkward for me to listen to you, Hardy, and not expect you to throw it to Spoon Man or something.
I would.
Yeah.
You just name the song by the band. So yeah, I'd be happy to do that. But no, we have other things to get to, like, watch this. What happened last night? Celtics played last night. We have some other NBA games. We had a big Bruins press conference yesterday. We're going to get to that later. There's not only the Sports Hub Deathmatch draft to get to today, but the NFL draft tonight. So we're going to do all that here this morning on Toucher and Hardy.
It's a cosmic mix. It's a little bit Tarantino. It's definitely a little bit Michael Mann. It's kind of...
Stay tuned.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
Did you catch a game last night?
All right, what happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce, change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti of 1-800-GET-HAIR. Michael Holley and Mark Dondero in this morning on Toucher and Hardy. Mark, what in fact happened last night?
So it was kind of interesting. The Celtics, once again, sort of in a battle at halftime, didn't know which way the game was going to go. And then once again, the Celtics in the third quarter take control, thanks in large part to Jaylen Brown, who was playing without his running mate Jason Tatum by his side.
No different. Obviously, JT is the offensive leader of our team. We all kind of play off of him, but any given night, rise to the occasion. I just do what the team needs me to do. I've taken that mentality, and I think sometimes people think that's like the only thing that you can do. So, tonight I got lucky. I guess we'll be ready for the next one.
Brown finished with 36 and 10 and really stepped up with Tatum out.
Okay, so a couple of things. Obviously, this is game 2 of the opening round playoff series with the Magic, and they grabbed the 1-0 lead with a full cast of characters. And even though Tatum doesn't play well in game 1, you'd rather have him in there for game 2. I mean, what are we talking about? Is Jason Tatum? Of course, you want him in there. What were your expectations before this game, Michael? I thought they were going to win, but
yeah, me too. I thought they were going to win. I actually thought they were going to blow them out, not because, the Magic suck and the Celtics are so much better. No, I thought they'd blow them out because the Magic did a great job in game 1 of planning for Tatum and kind of throwing things at him and forcing the Celtics to respond. Tatum was playing that point forward role, and I think the Magic knew what they wanted to do defensively. I said, okay, with Tatum out, I expect the ball to be whipping around tonight. And
you get that weird, like energized jolt when you're missing a key player. And look, it used to happen all the time with the Celtics when one of the bigs would be out and Marcus Smart would go off for the game of his life. And you're like, you know what? They might be better without Jaylen Brown. They might be better. And it's fool's gold. It happens for a game and other guys step up, but it's not going to be there with any kind of consistency. So I can see that. Like, all right, it's only one person, but maybe this is the night where Luke Cornett just has the game of his life. Some role player who just steps up and helps to fill the void.
I didn't even think that. I thought it would be like 5 guys in double figures.
Oh, wow.
And pretty much it was close. Jalen, Pritchard, Porzingis, Derek White, right?
Yep.
So you have 4. I mean, and that's just off the top of my head. Did anybody else reach double figures, or was it just those 4 guys last night? But they almost did it. It was a weird game in that the Celtics
just those 4
a few times looked like they were on the verge. Okay, here we are, up 10, up 12. All right, hit a couple of threes. Garden's rocking. They're about to knock him out, and Orlando would just kind of hang around.
Oh, scratch that. Drew Holiday had 11.
Okay, there you go. 5 guys in double figures. I thought they'd win by 20 points. They probably could have. I think they played like a B-, C+ game in game 1 and won convincingly. Last night was probably like a solid B.
Did it surprise you at all Tatum didn't play?
No.
Really?
No, it didn't surprise me. It would be a surprise if you took the Celtics at their word after game 1. When they asked him, Tatum, hey, how do you feel? Well, did you get an X-ray on it? He was asked. Hey, it's clean. So that's true. Technically, that's true. It's not broken, but it's clean doesn't mean I'm ready to go.
So not surprised only in that he was listed as doubtful. Okay, so it didn't come as a shock, but an hour beforehand, I'm like, really? You're not – okay. You're not gonna go at all. All right.
He got lucky. That was I think that was a nasty fall. And if you look at it in the context of what Jimmy Butler did last night, Jimmy Butler took a spill, a really bad fall, similar to Tatum, but except he hit more of his back and his butt. And left that game. And I don't expect him to play. I think he might be out a couple of games in this series.
He reportedly told Draymond Green he was good, but he's getting an MRI today, and we'll see what happens. Speaking of nasty falls, there was another fall. It was Kristaps Porzingis got hit in the head. So I heard Kristaps Porzingis, they did this Celtics thing on the Jumbotron or whatever. They asked each player, what's the one movie you'd watch over and over and never get sick of? This is a while back. And Porzingis said UFC fights. Didn't even mention a movie. So I knew when this happened, he was going to eat it up, and he actually ended up getting elbow to the face, blood gushing down his face, and he left the game momentarily, and then afterwards he spoke about the moment.
I mean, we're gonna be us, you know. We're not gonna let anybody like punk us, and we expect teams to be doing this kind of stuff, to get in our heads, to try to provoke us, to try to maybe get some reaction out of us, some technical, maybe something. You know, it's an emotional game, obviously. So we weren't surprised, but you know, we're just not gonna take it. You know, so it's gonna, you know, we're gonna hit them right back.
He was talking more about the physicality of the Magic there.
Yeah. So who is this guy? Bitazzi? What's his name?
I couldn't even pronounce it.
Yeah. I mean, okay. He comes down with like a flying elbow, and he catches Porzingis in the forehead. And I'm watching the game. Again, the whole family watching the game last night. It was kind of nice.
Oh, that's good. A nice wholesome family moment.
You know what? They show up for the playoffs.
With a little blood.
I'll give them that. You know,
Yep.
They won't watch any regular season games with me for the most part, but for the playoffs, they'll sit there and watch. And everyone's losing their minds. I'm like, it's kind of the forehead. You get one on the bottom of your chin. You get one up. I'm like, and you guys, you know, watch Rocky. And it's always the cut on the eyebrow. It's always the cut on the head. They bleed like crazy. There's nothing there to stop it. The skin is already stretched thin. I'm like, and they think I'm nuts. I'm like, oh, he's fine. And they're like, what are you? Look at him. Your blood. I said, yeah. The only thing, there might be like a mild concussion, which they probably won't even diagnose right now. Now, you want to talk about not surprised? I wouldn't be surprised to find out that he's going to sit with like, you know, a mild concussion or something like that.
Yeah, because he got it right to that, right to the face.
In terms of like the actual injury, I said it looks so much worse than it is.
And you know what? So I was there last night. So this is hours before the game. Let's say it's 5:15, 5:30. I'm just standing around courtside. That's my favorite thing to do, just to stand around. When I was covering the team, I always loved just watching warm-ups, and you get a sense of just how fast guys are, how big guys are. You're like, wait a minute. He looks small on TV, but up close, okay, you can see what they're doing.
Hold on, this is just after you emphatically greeted all the guards there like Stephen A. Smith when he walks in.
Exactly, the walk-in.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
How you doing? What's up? Here I am.
Hey, guys, relax. I'm here.
I'm here. Now it can start. So I'm just standing there, and all of a sudden I hear this huge, this applause. I'm like, what's going on? And it's Porzingis walking out. Fans are going crazy. This is pregame. Long before, like 5:30. He has such a connection with the fan. The fans love Porzingis, and he plays it up. So nobody is happier to be a Celtic than Kristaps Porzingis, and I get it. He was in Washington for, I don't know how long he was a Wizard. 2 years? Probably 2 years too long. That's basketball Siberia. He's here. Fans get into him. He plays around with the crowd.
So this wasn't like a big Latvian contingency in the crowd. These were actual Celtics.
He's probably
Sully and Fitzy and everybody else. They're just out there cheering him on.
Probably the most popular Celtic when you just like in arena, who fans look forward to because he plays the game with them. Kristaps, he'll look up, he'll smile, wave at him, high five him. And so when he was walking off the court, I don't know if they showed it on TV. He's got the towel over his head. He's bleeding. He's smiling. He's got some blood on his teeth. It's perfect. Looks like Jack Nicholson in The Shining a little bit, you know, just got that crazed look on his face. But he is a great poster boy for what the Celtics are doing right now.
Well, Joe Mazzulla also had a comment on watching Porzingis bleed.
Like 2 or 3 weeks he's getting cut. Needing stitches. I mean, you're a USC guy. And you got to admire just kind of him just going back and getting stitched and coming back out. I mean, that's something that's got to kind of touch you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I like his overall just approach. I think he has an innate ability to take things very serious and at the same time, have great perspective. And, you see how he could keep his composure higher really low with how he handles the crowd and how he handles the physicality of it. And he can maintain his kind of his poise, and he just has a great way about him, and I think that helps us. And I love watching him. I like watching him bleed on the court. I think it's important. And then he comes back in and does his job. So I do like that about him.
Yeah, he liked that he didn't have to scream at him to get up. No, he got up pretty much right away. And you're right, walking off, he's kind of playing into it. Coming back out, still got the blood on his scalp. He had to come out and shoot his free throws, right? So he get out there like right away, come out, and then went back and got cleaned up. But you could tell he loved it. He was practically laughing at just the reaction he was getting from the crowd coming back up, still bloody, huge bandage on his head when he first came back out. And went, 1 of 2 from the line. Had he sunk both free throws, my God, that place may have.
Well, just the first one.
Gone ballistic.
Because I was saying, if he makes it, just making this free throw, this place is going to erupt, sure enough.
Yeah.
He makes a free throw.
Yeah.
Which they struggled with a little bit last night. A little bit. I mean, they got to the line a lot, but a lot of uncharacteristic misses. Porzingis.
25 of 33.
Yeah.
70, almost just shy of 76% last night. Not great.
Yeah, and people you wouldn't expect, like Peyton Pritchard, who was
1 of 3.
also great last night, just energy wise. He got his 6-man award, but I think last night he showed you what else he has in his game. Came up with a couple of rebounds. He had one, guys, where it was Mike Vrabel and Robert Kraft were sitting baseline together.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yep. He gets a rebound in traffic. Like the 6'8", 6'9" are around him. Gets a rebound, throws it in, gets fouled. Vrabel stands up.
Yeah.
And it's like fired up about it. So he had a lot of plays where I would say he set the tone. Along with Jaylen Brown and Pritchard last night defensively were off the charts.
Yep.
Both of those guys. And the opposite of those last night, sorry to say, here's some bad news, Sam Hauser. Sam Hauser was getting dunked on, not figuratively, all night long. He could not stay on the court. They couldn't keep him. And there are certain matchups. I've seen this from Hauser just a few times this year where certain teams or certain players, it's just not his night, especially if he's not going to make his threes. If he's not going to make a shot, he can't play. So he was played off the court last night because Orlando attacked him. And I've seen that another time this year. Remember that game against Cleveland? They got up to like a 22-point lead.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And they lost
the game.
And they lost the game. In that game, Cleveland repeatedly, part of their comeback, going at Hauser. I don't know how many points he gave up officially. It was probably even more unofficially.
Yeah.
He and Luke Cornett were the only minus players last night. Hauser was a -3 last night.
It was
out
worse
there
than
for
that.
13 minutes, attempted 2 3-pointers, missed them both. But yeah, it was a rough night.
Pritchard, he battles when he's even up against Banchero one-on-one.
Yeah.
He does a good job defensively.
Yeah.
Feisty.
Yeah. And just something that is going to ruin watching Luke Cornett for me, just to show you I married the right person. As we're watching the game last night, my wife says, "That guy." I'm like, "What guy?" And she's referencing Luke Cornett. She says, "Looks like the guy from that Alien movie where he starts to turn into an alien." And I immediately knew. I'm like, "District 9?" She said, "Yeah, District 9. Have you seen this one?"
I have not.
Anybody?
Is it a good call?
District 9? He looks like Vickers Vandermeer from District 9. Number 1, great movie. Number 2, I can't look at Luke Cornett now without thinking that he's the guy who turns into an alien in District 9. So thank you for that. All right, what else happened last night? We'll find out as we continue here. First the headlines, and then more coming up this morning here on Toucher and Hardy with Mike Holly and Mark Dondero here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I like watching him bleed on the court.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Celtics seized control last night against the Magic, even without Jason Tatum, on their way to a 109-100 win in Game 2 of their first-round series. Jaylen Brown went for 36 and 10. Kristaps Porzingis had 20 and 10, while Derek White added 17 as the Celtics took the 2-0 series lead. Game 3 will be Friday night in Orlando. No word on the status of Tatum for that one yet. Elsewhere around the NBA, the Cavaliers beat the Heat 121-112. They're up 2-0 in that series. And the Rockets even their series with the Warriors last night, winning 109-94. Jimmy Butler did leave that game in the first quarter with an injury. He'll have an MRI today. The Red Sox fell to the Mariners last night, 8-5. Tristan Casas, he had a 3-run home run for the Sox, his second in as many nights. Boston and the Mariners will play the rubber game of their series tonight. Garrett Crochet gets the ball for the Red Sox. And in the NHL, the Capitals beat the Canadiens 3-1. They're up 2-0 in that series. The Stars beat the Avalanche 2-1 to take a 2-1 series lead. And that one, and the Kings dismissed the Oilers 6-2. LA is up 2-0 in that series. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Mark Dondero for Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next update around 7 a.m.
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the sports.
Yeah, you're right, because Tribe Called Quest is going to lose every time.
No, we're not pitting. It's all in the same. It's the same. We're on the same vibe.
I don't think you can talk about a band's brilliance because they were brilliant enough to sample brilliance.
No. Oh, see, you don't get it.
I don't.
Just don't get it.
I kind of don't.
No, they took a sample, just a little sample from Stevie Wonder and created something else as a tribute to Stevie.
Did they?
As a tribute.
Does it get sampled again in the song? Because I only heard it and then it just kind of goes away.
No, it comes back later on. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, they bring it back around. But
Brilliant.
just that first that first bar, those first 4 notes, just looping that up, and then it comes back around later on.
12, you might turn around and get yourself drafted. You may just get drafted.
I don't know
today.
that this particular skill would be useful in a battle royale, but God bless you, Mike.
Why not? Because every battle needs a soundtrack.
Good point.
Right?
Yeah, hype everybody up.
You need somebody who understands music. What's the music for this moment?
The Scottish Highlanders have their bagpipers. Sure, yeah, I get it.
I think it would.
Listen, kid, I don't want to make you any promises, kid, but we got a late round pick. We might be just
okay.
Hey,
I'll be ready.
Make sure we have the best number for you because we might be calling.
I'll be ready.
Or your representative
with the music as well, if need be.
I think it would serve as a detriment because if he starts trying to tell me how someone is brilliant because they sampled Stevie Wonder, I would just want to.
They're not brilliant because they're brilliant for other reasons. They're brilliant for other reasons.
Because all right, a minute ago they were brilliant for sampling Stevie Wonder. So you lying to me then, or you lying to me now?
This was a brilliant use.
Which one is it?
Sampling. It's
Which
both.
one is it?
It's both.
Oh, it's both.
It's a brilliant use
now they're
of a
double
Stevie.
brilliant.
Yes, they are.
They really are.
They really are.
All right. What else happened last night, Mark Dundee?
The Red Sox were in action last night. They had won 2 in a row and 6 of 7, but got off to a tough start. And a big blow in the game last night was the home run by J.P. Crawford in the 4th for the Seattle Mariners.
Out to right field. This is belted back by the bullpen. J.P. Crawford just went deep to right field. It's a 3-run bomb, and the Mariners extend the lead on Crawford's first home run this year.
So the Red Sox, they ended up dropping that game 8-3. Good news, though, Tristan Casas once again homering, second straight night with a dinger for Casas.
Drive to right field. He socked that one a long way, and that ball is gone. Home run for the second night in a row. Tristan Casas with a 3-run homer. And the Red Sox are making noises like they're back in the game.
It does sort of feel like a different lineup. I'm not a Tristan Casas supporter. I'll just get that out there. It does sort of feel like a different lineup when he's able to produce. I'll say that.
That's fair.
That's what they're counting on, right?
Yeah.
Weren't you telling me yesterday, Michael, that they had to sweep the Mariners?
Did I say sweep or you got to win the series?
I think maybe win the series.
2 out of 3.
All right. So still in play. When are they going today?
Today, what is that? I don't know what time the game is. It is at 1:35.
Okay,
so it's a day game. Garrett Crochet, and this is why you got him.
That's why I asked because so getaway day and you go early and they should be playing all day games this week. They should all be day games this week. School vacation week, beautiful weather,
great,
awesome. I would have gone to the game yesterday if I weren't in a tow yard in Hyde Park cleaning out my daughter's car. I would have been there yesterday. A perfect day to go to the game.
It's a perfect day to go to the game, not a perfect day to go to a tow yard, right?
As I told you beforehand, it is the last remnant of old America, that tow yards, where you're liable to see a junkyard dog and you're going to see some technology not yet being employed. No, you're just going to have chain link and you're going to have
look, rusted chain link, right? Junkyard dog, kind of tied up in like a bowl just beyond its reach. Is anybody feeding this dog, taking care of it? It's just barking until it's raspy.
What am I allowed to do out in this tow yard? Anything you can get away with.
Anything. Who knows who's there?
Right.
What's there?
Go for it. Yeah, there's all kinds of treasure out here.
Yeah, time kind of stands still, which is a problem. How long were you there?
Longer than I wanted to be. It's probably about a 30-minute ordeal.
Okay, 30 minutes. Okay, good. That's good.
It was, I didn't know there would A, be forms to fill out, B, that the car would be situated in such a way that I would not be able to open doors fully or open the hatchback at all because The battery had died on the car, and my daughter has all this stuff shoved in the back of the hatchback of the car, which is now totaled. And so thank goodness I have my skinny son with me. And I said, all right, boy, fold those seats back, crawl back there, just start pitching stuff in my direction. Ooh, what is that? It doesn't matter what it is.
Just
throw it this way. Is this one of her shoes? I don't care. Any more conversation, I'm going to lose my mind. We're here to work, not chit-chat. We just got to do stuff.
Why was he so grossed out about what was in there?
Because it's his sister.
His sister's
you know what?
Underwear in the trunk?
There was gross stuff in there. There was a foiled, like not completely balled up. There was something still within the aluminum foil. I'm guessing it was a breakfast
sandwich, or
that was made for her to eat on the way to school that she did not complete, and that was under one of the seats.
And who knows how long ago that was, too.
That's the great thing about a junkyard.
Yeah.
It's like, does everything have to go in that little plastic bin that you brought with you? And I am look for a trash receptacle guy always. No, don't just. I'm always going to throw it away.
Yeah.
I'm looking on the ground around me. I'm like, oh, it really doesn't matter. One little balled up. You know what? I've heard the scurryings of several things that will appreciate this sandwich that I'm going to leave on the ground.
That's right. Yes, that's right. This is how we survive.
Yeah.
People like you.
There's going to be a few entities in this very junkyard that maybe that's why they don't have trash cans out there.
Here's the great thing, though. After you came from the junkyard, your daughter said, Dad, thank you.
I got to say.
Did she?
No.
Okay.
Not in so many not in so many words, because of course she wasn't home. And I treated the boy to Topgolf afterward for helping me go through this.
Excellent.
You know what? Let's go play some Angry
Is that a
Birds.
treat for him or a treat for you?
I was going to say exactly 12.
Shush.
You know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to take us to Topgolf. Because I know lucky, you really want that.
We're going to re-rack the final round of the Masters, starting on the back nine when the leaders make the turn, and we're going to watch that afterward. No, he likes Topgolf, so we went there. And when we got home, and I was talking to my wife on the way home, she's like, well, you haven't slept. You haven't had a nap yet today. I said, I'm too pissed off to nap. I'm gonna go play pickleball. Just let me alone, all right? And I'll see everybody later, maybe. When I did get home, after 6, my daughter was making me oatmeal raisin cookies.
Oh, see.
So that was her way of saying thank you.
That's a nice touch.
I'll see everybody later. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, what's the maybe?
That's Hardy right there.
They know. They know. Like, yeah, he's just going through his thing. We'll see him.
That's a man's man who's going to go take out his anger on the pickleball court. Yeah, that's right.
Just one more thing from Tristan Cassis. He did speak post game, and it says weird little three little bears reference. So I want to see that.
Let's hear this,
Cassis.
Yeah, it felt good. I was. I can't say I was looking for another fastball right there. Just with how they've attacked me in general, just a lot of off speed. But I got one in a better zone than the first 2 pitches. I felt like the first one was down, second one was just a little up. Like the porridge. That last one was just right.
The porridge,
the
chair, the bear, or the bed, right?
Hey, listen, he'd do well in the Jeopardy category, children's literature.
Well, who wrote Goldilocks and the Three Bears?
Don't know.
Okay, well, he's not going to do all that well.
But the reference, somehow, this food is
You think Ken Jennings is going to be up there one night and say,
porridge. What is porridge?
Maybe. Okay,
yeah,
maybe.
That's a 200.
Yeah, all
that's
right.
a 200 one. That's not a 6. That's a 2.
As long as the answer is what is just right. No, I don't think it's going to be that easy. But porridge could be an answer.
See, and it's really it's a well constructed show, because what they're doing is allowing us to participate at the 200 and 400 level, and then now that we're in there, they say, okay, you're not ready for the deep waters. You're gonna wait by the shore as the deep intellectuals get into the 600 to 1,000.
Those are my least favorite Jeopardy answers and questions, where not only do I not know the answer, I don't even understand the question. I'm still thinking about, do they want the name?
Yeah, what are you asking
or do they
for,
want the and by the way, I don't know what the hell you're talking about anyway. So I don't understand what you're referencing here in this question. But If I did, I still don't know what you're looking for. What do you want from me? Tell me what you want.
And then to do it under pressure.
Yeah.
Now we say, okay, what is pressure? Because I'm at home. I'm like, oh, that's easy. Name the Great Lakes. And I go back to my 4th grade teacher who told me the Holmes method of the Great Lakes. Okay, so I got it. Huron, Ontario,
right,
Michigan, Erie, Superior. All right.
Oh, you got
But
it.
the pressure of just, if I put you on the spot, if you're constantly on the spot, even stuff that you know, you'll start to like get a little skittish. And so if I ask you, like, give me the Red Sox rotation in 2002, you know it. But if I ask you to deliver it in a certain amount of time before that buzzer goes, dun, 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 sorry.
Or things that you learned very recently, which you should know, like capital of New Mexico.
Which is Santa Fe.
Okay, see? Good recall.
Yeah.
40 minutes
See,
ago.
that's what happened to me. You put me on the spot. I wasn't ready, and I just kind of said something.
Very good. All right. Yesterday we did the first 3 rounds of the Sports Hub Deathmatch Draft. The drafting will continue today. Michael Holley will be picking first again this morning. Ryan Johnston was here yesterday. He is not here today, so Mark Dondero will take over. You've been handed a roster with 3 players already. It is
Don't screw this team up, man.
I've already got 3 people on the roster.
You've already got 3 people. We'll tell you who you've got, and we'll tell you who there is left to pick from. We're gonna go for 3 more rounds here.
Excellent.
As we continue after the headlines here on the Sports Hub.
Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Celtics seized control last night against the Magic, even without Jason Tatum, on their way to the 109-100 win in Game 2 of their first-round playoff series. Jaylen Brown went for 36 and 10. Kristaps Porzingis had 20 and 10, while Derek White added 17 as the Celtics took the 2-0 series lead. Game 3 will be Friday in Orlando. No word on the status of Tatum for that matchup. Elsewhere around the NBA last night, the Cavaliers beat the Heat 121-112. They're up 2-0 in that series, and the Rockets even their series with the Warriors, winning last night 109-94. Jimmy Butler did leave that game in the first quarter with an injury. He'll have an MRI on Thursday. The Red Sox fell to the Mariners last night by the count of 8-5. Tristan Casas had a 3-run home run for the Sox, his second in as many nights. Boston and Seattle will play the rubber game of their series this afternoon. Garrett Crochet gets the ball for the Red Sox. And in the NHL, the Capitals beat the Canadiens 3-1. They're up 2-0 in the series. The Stars beat the Avalanche 2-1 to take a 2-1 lead in that series. And the Kings dismissed the Oilers 6-2. LA is up 2-0 in that one. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by South Shore Bank. At Beatles Bank, sharing your success and growing your business is what above and beyond banking is all about. Visit southshorebank.com. Member FDIC, member DIF, equal housing lender. I'm Mark Dondero for Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next update, 7:30-ish.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Number 1 overall pick and selected in a battle royale, a battle to the death, as tempers have flared over the nearly 16 years of the Sports Hub. Many of these people have worked together and been in the same room with each other year after year after year, and at some point, something's got to give, and when it gives, what side do you want to be on? What team do you think will emerge victorious? And to lead that team with the number 1 overall pick, Michael Holley selected Mark the Beetle Bertrand.
Yes.
Mark Bertrand is the number 1 overall pick.
Yes. You know why, Dondero?
No.
Because I've seen him in action.
Yup.
He saved me. I was about to get my ass kicked. He stepped in. The fight didn't happen. He was able to just stare at a guy. Big guy, rocked up dude. Rocked up and liquored up. Beetle silenced him.
Yeah?
Shut him down. And by the way, that aside, and that's my personal story, but that aside, who's angrier? Like, who really wants to fight? Is Zoe angry?
He doesn't
Does he want to fight?
He doesn't want to fight.
He don't want to fight.
You're right.
That's not your captain. He didn't want to fight. He could talk a good game. He's not about that life. So I need a guy who will fight.
Test your might.
Beetle!
So Michael Holley ended up with his first 3 selections going Beetle, Fred Toucher. Good luck. You got to catch him on the right day at the right moment.
Catch him on the right day, though. Watch out.
In between meds.
That's okay.
And with a very questionable pick, me. I mean, it was the 7th pick overall, but we were only doing the first 3 shows in studio, people, so pickings were slim.
And I know how to motivate you, too. I'm like, Hardy, remember the tow yard. Come on. Remember it.
So pickings were slim already. Ryan Johnston, and this is the team that you've been handed here this morning, Mark Dondero, went with Scott Zolak with his first pick, then picked Maz. Again, who's angrier? I don't know if you're going to pick someone angrier than Maz. And John Wallach. So that left me for my 3 selections. Big Jim Murray was my first pick. I like the reach.
Yeah.
I do like the occasional rage. Tim McCone, he just ran the marathon. He's got stamina.
That's good.
Even if it's a questionable doughy stamina. And
doughy stamina.
Well, he's first to say it. And Mike Felger.
Okay.
So that's those are the teams thus far. Left on the board. So many names to choose from. I'm going to run them down quickly here, so just try and keep all of these in mind. Here's who's left for the next 3 rounds. Joe Murray and his producer, Skaz. On the producer tip, we have Adam 12, Ryan Beaton, and Nick Gemelli, whom I would advise taking in this competition. He's frail, he's feeble, he's almost died twice. I don't know if he's up for this, but we got to put him in the mix. Tom T-Bone Morgan.
T-Bone.
Oh. Along with Tyler Milliken. In the afternoon, you've got Jay Stu and Kevin Majori. Also available to you, Matt McTakey McCarthy, Cerrone Battle, Leroy Irvin, Dan Lifshatz, Nick Cattles, Mark Dondero, Chris Gasper, and Kendra Middleton.
Wow.
All available to you in these next 3 rounds.
This is so much fun. This is so much fun.
So you're going to have your starting 5, and then you're going to have a 6th that you'll be able to draft as well. So you are on the clock, Michael Holley.
Listen, I knew where I was going late last night. I'm running this one up. This card is in. Known this guy for a long time. We need a WWE element to our team. This guy knows the latest moves and strategies. He can even bring in John Cena for a motivational speech.
Oh, it's got to be.
Big game, James Stewart.
Brutality. It's a good pick.
Is our pick.
Oh, you're going Jay Stu.
Yes.
There are a couple of names on the board, and a huge sigh of relief in war rooms all over this nation. Now, it's a great pick, but wow, you maybe just made my team. Okay?
Okay. All right. I want to hear this.
We'll see what happens with the next pick. Dondero, you're on the clock.
So I was doing a show a while back, and during one of the breaks, we were talking about the importance of my daughter taking self-defense lessons at some point in her life. So my pick is Kendra Middleton. Because I think she could kick some ass. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just thinking that she has some training.
Oh, my God.
That's a great pick.
And she could do some damage.
Yo,
so I'm
she's
going with Kendra.
Hey, and she's a sniper. Did you know this? Something about growing up in Jacksonville, how, like
You get
she
that
would.
Florida thing.
Yeah, she
swag.
can shoot.
You never know what
She
could
can
come
shoot
out of that.
see rats out in the back and just knock them out.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. There's no one.
Gators. She knows about gators.
No one more pissed off right now than Ryan Johnston. What
Yeah.
have you done to my team? That's what he's saying right now.
That's a good pick.
Wallach? What is Wallach going to do? No offense.
That's a fair point.
My tail, but I mean, maybe he's a black belt. I don't know.
Bird of prey.
But I mean,
and well, he's also counting on the fact him coming back from that, staying in that one hotel room in Paris and the trip to Luxembourg with his family. He's going to be good and pissed off.
Okay.
And ready to fight. All right. Wow. I didn't think I would have 3 to choose from here. I thought two of these 3 would have been gone.
I want to hear your draft strategy now. Okay. I mean, now that
I wasn't prepared for this.
Okay.
And I'm not going to give away anything because
you're about to.
I think one of these guys could be left for me next time around.
You're about to give it away by who you pick. I can see what you're thinking here. All right, go ahead.
It's so easy. You guys can't see the forest for the trees on this thing. He's not only the best player for the position, he's the best player available. Tom T-Bone Morgan.
T-Bone.
Give me T-Bone. I get him with the 12th overall pick. This is unbelievable.
He's jacked.
But exactly.
Can he fight? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, don't you worry about that.
Okay.
And
why is he still available?
And he's got rage.
Why I see him here in the control room though? I think he might have some mobility issues. I mean, I call his name and I don't see that neck move. I just the shoulders pivot over.
Yeah, if you yell to T-Bone head on a swivel, he's going to ignore you.
Yeah.
But I will say this: why is he still available? Dum Dum number 1 and Dum Dum number 2.
Perhaps,
you guys.
but I think 12 just brought up an issue. We got to take advantage of him. Listen, our scouting is next level, so we will find your weaknesses and exploit them.
All right, it's back to you, Holly. You're on the clock.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many people available. I thought about drafting this guy first today, but I can't believe he's still on the board. We call him Joe Murray. Joe Murray. He can fight. He can talk to you about food. He knows about gambling.
Ooh, it's zesty.
He knows about memorabilia. Whatever you need, Joe Murray. And he can work at night. Come on. Give me Joe Murray.
I thought Joe Murray would have gone in the James Stewart slot, but all right, he's still there, so good for you. Joe Murray off the board. And all right, you still have a very, very strong team here. All right, Don Darrow, you're on the clock.
All right, next pick, and Michael sort of alluded to this. This one has to do with my ability to motivate, and this is an easy one in that regard. It's Tyler Milliken. All you have to do is just tell him he's not going to be able to watch the Red Sox unless he wins the fight, and he will dominate anyone, everyone, and all people that he goes up against because he is so motivated by that baseball team. So Milliken and his deep passion for the Red Sox is going to get it. They're going to get it done for
I
me.
like your pick, Dundaro. And here's the other thing I like about it. You're going to have an analytics kind of bent.
Good point.
To your team. So you can say, Harry, what's the best way to attack these guys? And we might think it's obvious. Milliken will say, no, analytically, we should be doing this. You got an advantage.
Well said.
Wow. Okay. Ryan Johnston is ready to throw himself off a bridge. He gave you Zolak. He gave you Maz, who is at least
I don't
angry.
understand what
and you back it up.
Zolak doesn't even like fighting.
That's right.
Why are you acting like this is some elite team that Johnston left me?
He's big.
He's big.
Big guy, and he's got
the fight in the dog.
He's got the crazy, and I'll grant you, Kendra's got the crazy. I have no idea if she can fight. Milliken, have you ever felt his hands?
He's a little slimy.
No
Kilometers.
You said slimy.
Soft like a baby's bottom.
Okay.
I mean, really, you see him later today? Shake his hand.
The motivation.
You will be shocked at the softness of that kid's hands.
Okay.
I'm stuck here. I've got some real crazy and I've got some real anger available to me. But I've also got somebody who I believe is a true diamond in the rough. And somebody who is going to be willing to fight for what he believes in, what he truly wants. He's stuck down the hall right now. He's in a place he doesn't want to be. He wants to be here.
Damn it.
And he wants to prove himself.
See, you're messing up my whole strategy.
What can I say? Give me Leroy Irvin.
Finish him.
See, that's such a good pick.
Oh, he's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the desire. He does. He's got a spot on the team. He's trying to get a starting role, and if he figures he goes into this death match with some other Sports Hub personalities, he's just going to free up a slot.
Dundaro, we had an emailer yesterday. I think his name was Dan. Dan emailed the email bit. All right.
Hold on. We're going to stop right here. We're going to save the last pick.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to pick.
Okay, all right.
I'm just going to tell you that Dan wrote yesterday, and he was critical of my draft strategy. He said you should have known better. If you're going to go off the board, if you're going to pick Beetle first, and people didn't expect it, you should have traded back, picked up an extra pick, and then you get your guy, and you get an extra pick. And this is where it hurts me because if I had an extra pick, I had a great move lined up. And my mistake yesterday is coming back to bite me.
It's literally and figuratively day one stuff. That's the stuff you do on day one of the draft, and you didn't do it.
I screwed up.
So to recap, Michael Holley has on his Sports Hub Deathmatch squad, Beetle, Fred Toucher, me, Jay Stu, and Joe Murray. The combo team of Ryan Johnston and Mark Dondero has Scott Zolak, Tony Maserati, John Wallach, Kendra Middleton, and Tyler Milliken.
Well, when you say it out loud like that.
I was suckling hind teeth.
You're underestimating the passion.
Okay.
I mean, you can dig deep.
True. Well, I am not underestimating my team. I mean, I was dealing with Big Jim Murray, Tim McCone, who texted me himself and said, terrible pick, change it. Big Jim Murray, Tim McCone, Mike Felger, but then in late rounds picked up Tom T-Bone Morgan and Leroy Irvin.
Yeah.
Making a strong push here.
It's a good late round. But I just want to say, I've heard Felger talk ad nauseum about how soft he is and how soft Jim Murray is. Felger has said this.
I made up for a lot with T-Bone and Leroy. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Leroy's a great pick.
We'll revisit this later in the show with our final picks and our final teams here as we continue. But Mike Douso, my man Deuce from Patriots.com, will be joining us next here on Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports.
and Hardy with Blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
It's not exhausting. I've heard it since I was 14 years old. The school that I just went to, they said the same thing to me. My coaches, that everybody's had a concern with my arm length since I was 14 years old and I got my first offer. I didn't let it become a problem now, or then. I'm not going to now. There's some teams that want to play me at guard, and I'm fully willing to do that because I'm a team guy first. I want to win, and I want to win.
Here on 98.5, the Sports Hub. Michael Holley, Mark Dondero in this morning. Joining us now, Mike Douso, writer and content producer for Patriots.com. Deuce, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. I'm sorry to take you away from your birthday present. Would you like to tell the boys the photo that? And I forgot to reply to you when you sent it yesterday because I was just staring longingly at it. Do you want to tell the boys what you've been doing?
Well, I know that's my character now here on the show is Jaws enthusiast. So I was excited to receive an Orca Lego set for my 49th birthday. Yes, I'm almost 50 and I got a Lego. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun here on my vacation. Counting down to the draft, building the Orca. So yeah, a lot of fun here going on at my house.
Legitimately a ginormous Orca Lego
All right,
build.
so what is it? Does it say 4+, 8+, or 12+? What's the designation?
I think it was 40+. 40+.
40+.
Yeah, one of those adult Lego sets, right? Yeah.
Not bad.
1,497 pieces.
Oh, that's legit.
18 and over. This is an adult Lego. I'm looking at the box right now. You're on vacation this week? What are you, Scott Zolak? What are you, Fred Toucher?
Well, haven't you guys reached the point now where you're just so talked out about the draft that you're like, all right, I need a little break here in the days leading up, charge my batteries up, and get ready for go time the next 3 days.
Okay, so you will be back at work today.
You have been on vacation.
Yeah. No, but of course I'm back today. The draft's today. What else am I doing? Come on, this is what we wait all year for.
Well, again, I mean, there are a handful of people gone from this radio station, the flagship of the Patriots.
Why do you think I'm here right now?
Glad you're back. All right. So, any rumblings as to what may be going down? Mike Vrabel said last week, like any talk of moving in or out of that fourth pick last week was way too early to be having those discussions. Now, he didn't mean for us because we've been talking about it since November, December. But for the team itself, today or maybe even the hours or minutes leading up to the pick would be the time when those discussions really, really start with other teams. So any rumblings that any of those conversations are actually taking place or going to take place?
It seems like all the rumblings are pointing towards Will Campbell right now, which
not moving out of the four.
And not moving out of the four, right? I still think that Shedeur Sanders, he's kind of the key guy in the draft to me. Where's he going to go? I got a little bet going with Perillo that I think he's going to go in the top 15. I think NFL teams are too scared right now, and he's got so much confidence. It will inspire a team to take a risk on him tonight, I think. But it seems to me right now like the Patriots are going to be kind of stuck in that fourth overall pick. And if it is Will Campbell, I think it makes sense.
I want to know how nervous you are, and it's going to be based on the way Perillo made this bet with you. Was it a dismissive, like, there's no way? Sure, you want to bet? You want to bet? Or was he like, that's interesting, I'll make a bet? Well, how did he approach it?
No. Well, it was one where a caller called in and said, it sounds like Deuce is pretty positive on Sanders going in the top 15. And Paul was saying no. So a caller suggested the bet. So I guess we had to back him into it, Hardy.
All right. You're probably going to lose. But if he was that, like, really grumpy Perillo dismissive, I'd be like, the money's gone because he knows. But maybe he thinks there is a chance. All right.
I don't know. He didn't even really want to bet. So we'll see how it all unfolds tonight.
All right, you said the if they take Will Campbell, it makes sense. Let me just throw a scenario at you.
Yeah.
Let's say Will Campbell plays for 10 years at left tackle, plays for 10 years, and makes one Pro Bowl. And there's rumors that if Abdul Carter falls to the Patriots, they will pass on him. And he plays, and he's a Pro Bowl talent, perennial Pro Bowler, or even Ashton Genty. The best. I heard Maurice Jones-Drew say the other day that he's got a higher grade on Genty than he had on Saquon Barkley coming out in 2018. Does it still make sense to you? And my point is, if Will Campbell is just solid and they pass on Pro Bowlers.
Yeah, I wouldn't pass on Abdul Carter. If he were to fall, even Travis Hunter, seems like the signs right now are pointing to them not falling, but I would not pass on those guys. I think you're totally right. Genty, we could get into. I did a mock draft about a month ago that seemed like it was one of the first ones to make the suggestion that they could take him, which I think is a whole nother debate. There are plenty of people out there that don't think a running back is worthy of the 4th overall selection. But I guess what I come back to, and I get what you're saying with Campbell is, and I go back to what Mike Vrabel said when he was first hired. We need to be able to take advantage of bad football. This team needs to be able to beat the bad team. So I get it. It's not the sexy pick. It's not Orlando Pace that, this guy is easily a franchise all-world left tackle. There are some questions about him. But I think we spent so much time talking about his arm length. I want to talk about his athleticism. I think he's a crazy athletic player, even if he were to line up inside. At this point, it feels like the Patriots, they need a solid down-the-middle kind of fairway shot. And that's, to me, is what Will Campbell seems like. And I think anywhere you get beyond Hunter and Carter, there are going to be questions. Is Genty going to hold up? Even with Carter and Hunter, there are some questions. Maybe not as big, but once you get past those first two guys and a little bit of Genty, there are going to be questions. I think that's why a lot of people would love to trade down and maybe, not just get a Will Campbell or a Membo, that kind of offensive lineman, but also get some additional top 100 picks. They've already got 4 of them. I think they've got the ammo to do some damage, but I totally get the point going in, though, with him maybe just being a solid player, not being worthy of that 4th overall pick. But when you've had back-to-back 4-win seasons, I think you need just solid, and that's what I think Will Campbell will be.
Okay, Mike, so with that being said, a few of the narratives surrounding this NFL draft to this point have included Adam Schefter saying that the Browns and the Giants are both fielding phone calls. Another one, I think it was Peter Schrager, said that Elliott Wolf, especially during his time in Cleveland, was a little bit unpredictable. Is there any way that the Patriots could be poised to shock a lot of us and try to trade up?
Oh, I like it.
Trade up. And if not, should they consider trading up?
I wouldn't. I kind of going back to what I just said before. I think that they need a solid draft. They don't need to push all the chips in the middle. This is the one player we need. As much as I like Abdul Carter, I still don't know for sure that he's 100% that guy, as much as I think he is the best player in this draft. So I would lean no against drafting up. I think they need a bunch of different hits. They've got some holes to fill. I'd also just throw in there the edge position, which is one I see kind of slipping down the list as we get closer to the draft. People dismissing the edge position. I think it's a really big long-term need for this team. Instead of looking at receiver in that second round, I'd look at one of these edge guys, even trading back up into the first. I think that's the area that would make the most sense to me if we're talking about trading up, get back into that first round in the low end and try to get one of these tackles. If they don't get Will Campbell or get one of these edges that fall through the cracks there, I think there'll be a lot of value there. That's the spot for me to trade up.
You are so predictable, you effing child. You and your defense. Mike Defense Douso. So I was going to ask you about this. They did a lot defensively in the offseason. The needs seem to be almost, if not solely, the majority on offense. Why would you forego a receiver in one of the later rounds for another defensive player? Any defensive player.
Yeah, well, there's not
other than your love of defense, Mike. Try and remove yourself from the equation.
I'd say there's 9 receivers on the roster right now. We can go down a list of who will or won't make the team, but you're right. They signed Landry and Chason to the 2 defensive end positions, but I think those are 2 players who are still have something in the tank. But I'd love to add a third young player into that rotation. Some young legs, some pressure off the edge. I don't know if Chason and Landry still have that juice off the edge that some of these young guys could bring. And when you look at this draft, that's what the strength of this class is. When you get into that late first round, is there's going to be some players down there. Nick Scorton's a guy from Texas A&M that I really like, that plays like Vrabel wants guys, it seems like, with hair on fire, 100% effort at all times. Sometimes you just have to take advantage of what the draft gives you. This year, they're a little bit stuck at 4th overall. There isn't that perfect pick that really there was the last 2 years in the first round. And this year, you might get it with that second pick if you're willing to be a little bit aggressive. You might be able to get that third young edge to rotate with those 2 older players and really buy some long-term stability at that position. I agree with you overall, Hardy. There aren't a bunch of glaring needs on the defense, but when I look at this edge class and what the long-term need is at the position, that seems to all really line up to me and make a lot of sense. Maybe even late tonight as we get around 11 o'clock tonight, all of a sudden, here come the Patriots back up, maybe to grab one of those guys.
You see, Mike, we could watch Jaws together. We could put together the Legos thing. We could do that. but I don't think we would be able to share a draft room together. I just completely disagree. The Patriots, I don't want to see any more fairway shots. They're fine. They're fine on the fairway. Fine. They need eagles. They need stars. They need something, a hole in one. They need something dramatic.
You don't want them to lay up.
No,
is what you're saying.
you gotta get something great. And you talk about being a little creative and a little aggressive. There is a perfect player there. His name's Travis Hunter. And if Cleveland, and imagine Cleveland doing something dumb. If the Browns want to be dumb and trade out of an opportunity to draft Travis Hunter, take advantage of their stupidity, do it. You and Hardy's making fun of you for your defense. You get defense and offense in one.
How about
with
that?
Travis Hunter? Go get Travis Hunter.
I love him. I mean, he's such a unique athlete. He'd be so much fun to watch. And when you look
cover.
End cover. I think they put him at a wide receiver immediately, but the impact that he would bring. And I mean, I'm selfishly just thinking about when we sit there in training camp and the fans come out to watch those guys get a front row seat and to see Travis Hunter do his thing. I mean, there's no question that would be super exciting. But Michael, I'd even just you want to make the argument about Genty. I mean, I think there's some Genty argument in what you're saying that they should make the big swing.
Absolutely.
Get rid of, stop saying, oh, you can't draft running backs until everybody's ready. I mean, the line has to be ready and this has to be ready. And okay, now the team is finally ready for running back. Are you going to look down the road in 5 years from now and say, wow, we had a potential Hall of Fame running back staring us in the face, but someone told us it was not the right time to take Ashton Genty? I think there's an argument to be made there. Ever since I wrote that article, people have, kind of been having arguments about it and discussions. And I know it's a hot button topic and it's a great one to talk about because to your point, that's a splash kind of pick. You're telling me that kind of running back can help Drake May, wouldn't be a benefit to him? I think he would. And I think that there's a conversation to be had there.
All right. You know what? We got to wrap this up because I have Jaws trivia for you. I don't want to let the time get away from us here too much more. Are you ready?
We got the important stuff. Let's go.
3 questions. Number 1. First time you see Sean Brody in the movie. He's on the beach singing a song. What song is he singing?
Oh, the Muffin Man. Come on. What's up?
Okay. To prove his basic seamanship, Quint asks Hooper to tie what kind of knot?
Oh, is it like a sheep shank?
Finally, this is a tough one. Brody instructs the deputy to make signs that say what?
Per order of the Amity PD, beaches closed, no swimming. I might have got the order wrong.
Incorrect. Beaches closed, no swimming. By order of the Amity PD. All right, you have a chance to save yourself. Who did he tell to let do the printing?
Let Polly do the printing.
Let Polly do the printing. All right, there you go. That's the secretary. All right, you redeemed yourself there at the end.
Oh, thank God.
All right, well done, Deuce. Thank you. What's the coverage like on Patriots.com? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, we'll be live tonight, 7:30. We're going to do a little live pregame show this afternoon at 1 o'clock. Get ready as we're all kind of hanging around, counting down. So, yeah, we'll be live for the whole first round and excited to see what happens. Always a fun few days here in Foxborough.
Well, glad you could make it back from vacation for the first round of the NFL draft. That was big of you.
Yeah, it's eating into my Lego time, but what are you going to do?
All right. Thanks, Deuce. Appreciate it, buddy.
Guys.
All right, have fun. Should we wrap up the draft now? On the other side of the headlines here, should we get this buttoned up? Is there anything else we're supposed to be doing or should be doing?
I follow my quarterback. That's my quarterback. Whatever
You want to wrap the
whatever the quarterback decides.
No, you know what?
Yeah.
No, I want to get to the Bruins presser from yesterday.
I think
I want
we
to
should
do
do
that
that.
instead. Let's do that. There was a lot going on at Garden yesterday, and we'll get into that next here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Celtics seized control last night against the Magic, even without Jason Tatum, on their way to a 109-100 win in Game 2 of their first-round playoff series. Jaylen Brown went for 36 and 10. Kristaps Porzingis added 20 and 10, while Derek White also threw in 17 points as the Celtics took a 2-0 series lead. Game 3 will be Friday night in Orlando. No word on the status of Jason Tatum for that one yet. Elsewhere around the NBA, the Cavaliers beat the Heat 121-112. They're up 2-0 in that series, and the Rockets even their series with the Warriors last night, 109-104. Checked out, 109-94 was the final. Jimmy Butler left that game, though, in the first quarter with an injury. He'll get an MRI today. The Red Sox fell to the Mariners last night, 8-5 the final. Tristan Casas, a 3-run home run for the Sox, his second in as many nights. The Red Sox and Mariners will play the rubber game of their series this afternoon. Garrett Crochet gets the ball for Boston. And in the NHL, the Capitals beat the Canadiens 3-1. They're up 2-0 in that series. The Stars beat the Avalanche 2-1 to take a 2-1 series lead. And the Oilers, they fell to the Kings 6-2. LA is up 2-0 in that series. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Freedom Boat Club. Don't buy a boat this summer. Join Freedom Boat Club. Enjoy unlimited usage of boats at 21 prime locations from the North Shore to P-Town. Go to freedomboatclub.com today. I'm Mark Dundale for Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next update, 30 minutes.
If your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
First and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to thank our fan base for your loyalty and dedication. I'm obviously quite biased, but I happen to think that Boston has the most passionate and loyal fans in all of the National Hockey League. We owe you a better team, and we aim to deliver a better team.
A meeting with reporters at TD Garden to wrap up the Bruins season, talk about things going forward. Toucher and Hardy, Michael Holley, Mark Dondero here. Cam Neely had plenty to say yesterday. And we'll get to him in a moment. But first of all, Don Sweeney asked about what coach, not only would they hire, but what coach would not end up being in that position by their choice or the coach's choice.
And I am curious if there's been any questioning of you based on dismissing 3 coaches in your tenure, any pushback about getting enough time to do the job.
From the coaches themselves? Yeah. I'll call you up and let you know, Tara, if somebody turns it down the invitation to interview for one of the most historic jobs in the National Hockey League. I understand. Have that conversation.
I think it's a legitimate question.
It's a great question.
You guys are burning through coaches. Jim Montgomery gives you a hell of a season. You won't extend him, and you end up getting rid of him. And now what looks like, whether he wanted to leave or not, did nothing for your hockey team by dismissing Jim Montgomery this past season. So, yeah, is there going to be an issue with getting a coach in here after what happened with the last 2?
How about his response? I mean, it is absolutely a fair question. Jim Montgomery gives you, in the regular season, we know what happened in the postseason, but a historic regular season. And when they lose in the first round, that press conference, that visual, they couldn't have sat further away from Jim Montgomery to send the message, this is on him, and we may fire his ass. We're still not sure. They literally distanced themselves from Jim Montgomery after he gave him that regular season. Then they move on when it doesn't turn out the way they wanted to. How about Cassidy? Cassidy gave you a great record, but he wasn't nice enough to the players. You move on from him. He goes to Vegas and wins his Stanley Cup. So, yeah, you start to look at it and say, what do you guys want? The last 2 guys here were very successful, and you fired them.
And have had success since.
So what do you want from me?
Yeah, and just to add to that, I thought when they fired him and how they fired him and when they fired him was the biggest signal of desperation and the fact that they didn't really know what to do at that point. That to me, and I'm not trying to, they're going to be here, and that's where they're going to go forward with Sweeney and Neely. But at that point, it looked like they were out of options and had no idea what they were doing or where they were going. So they just tried to throw something against the wall, fired Jim Montgomery at that time, which they were like 500 in the early stages of the season. Made no sense to me. That was a complete act of desperation to me, and that they were lost. That's what it said to me.
So Neely goes on and addresses more of this narrative about bad coaching.
Well, I just want to there's been a narrative that I think we should address. I believe there have been 3 head coaches of the Boston Bruins over the past, I'm going to say 10, or more like 15 years when you count Claude. I think the shelf life of a head coach is significantly shorter than one of a general manager or a team president. It's Don's job to make sure that he's got his hand on the pulse of whether or not the players have tuned him out, the head coach.
So wait a minute. We're going back to Claude.
I agree that the shelf life on coaches, can be short, but generally not when they are, winning. And they don't seem to be the problem. There was a problem with Bruce Cassidy. Sure, he was a dick. Okay. But doesn't mean he was a bad coach. And isn't it also Don Sweeney's job maybe to kind of work with him? You're a manager. You're a general manager. You have to manage people. You have to manage personalities, egos. And the Bruins have been guilty of this before. And whether it's, Dougie Hamilton out of town, why? Well, he didn't have any friends here. There was no one to go out with. Well, make him like it here. I don't know. Move some of his friends here. Do something to help with that. Tyler Seguin, who was, again, scoring goals last night. There was like a personal issue. Well, you got to do some personality managing. You have to do some things as a manager. And if all you're doing is keeping your finger on the pulse as whether or not the room has tuned him out, well, why has the room tuned him out? Is there anything that can be done to remedy that as opposed to just firing another coach.
This press conference was unintentionally funny. I don't unless they expected it, they wanted it to be funny. So mission accomplished. But I'm not a PR person, but I would think if you're in PR, you say, "Oh my God, didn't we go over this? Yeah. This is not the message we want to send to the public."
Didn't we workshop this in the hotel conference room last night?
Over and over, they kept coming up with the wrong answers and defensive answers. So it's not a narrative when you can just go and look at, okay, history of Boston Bruins. Who's been the coach? You're not allowed to play this game. And they did this yesterday. They said, well, wait a minute. Well, Bruce Cassidy, we got him from Providence. I don't care where you got him from. You fired Claude. You brought in another coach. So that counts as replacing a coach.
Yes.
It doesn't. It's no continuum. Well, Claude is really Cassidy and Cassidy's Claude. No, they're two different people.
No.
You fired one. You hired Cassidy. You fired him. You brought in Montgomery. You fired him. Now you have Sacco. You got to be nice with him, but you're probably going to fire him too. You have to.
Yes. All right, so the drafting questions and Neely's responses to these. There's 3 cuts here. I want to get to all of them.
Question on drafting and development. Neither of them have really been up to expectations, in my opinion.
So this is Kevin Paul DuPont?
Yes. Kevin Paul DuPont to Neely. This is great.
It's going right in. Keep your arms up at all time. Keep your hands up there. All right, here we go.
Question on drafting and development. Neither of them have really been up to expectations, in my opinion.
So can you just elaborate on that, Kevin?
The drafting?
Yeah.
Well,
where we've picked and who we've picked and how it's turned out.
Well, where you've picked is not a lot of top 10 picks, but ultimately,
not a lot of first-round picks.
But ultimately, are those draft picks, have they developed? Have they come in? Have they come online the way you want them? If that's the case, fine. But
well, obviously, you wanted to hit on all your picks. There's no question.
Okay. All right. So far, it's okay. What else does he have to say about this bad drafting narrative?
I think that our drafting and developing, the narrative there is a little off. And it's been going on for quite some time. Goes back to 15. And 15, it was really unfair to Don. By the time Don got hired, it was late May. Draft was late June. He wasn't even probably thinking about being a general manager of the Boston Bruins at the time. What Don did leading up to the draft to make the acquisitions that he did with those picks, to get the 3 picks, I thought was really good.
What? So he brought in a guy who was ill-equipped and not ready to do the job.
That's your answer. That is stunning. Dondero, hey, listen. We brought in a guy, he probably wasn't even thinking about the job, but we gave it to him anyway.
He wasn't thinking about the job. He certainly wasn't thinking about the draft.
Wasn't thinking about the job. It was late May, draft's coming up. He's not thinking about being the general manager of the Bruins. But we said, hey, even though you weren't thinking about this, why don't you go ahead and make those picks?
Yeah, do it.
3 straight. 3 in a row. I mean, that's unprecedented. That takes sophisticated strategy to deal with something like that, and they just glazed over it.
And the picks. Look, you're right. It is. Nobody has, in any sport, nobody has mastered the draft. Great teams make bad picks. Bad teams make great picks. We know. But it just so happens in that draft, the 2015 draft, you have 3 straight picks. You didn't hit on yours, and everybody else around you did.
Here's what Neely had to say about it.
Don was trying to move up in the draft. It didn't work out. What we should have done, looking back, we should have taken some time out and said, okay, guys, let's regroup here. We didn't move up. We got 3 picks in a row. I think it was very new for everybody. We stood backstage for those 3 picks. What we should have done was get back to our table and say, okay, let's sit down and say, are we okay with our list? Look, these are things you try to learn from.
That's it right there.
It happens. It just happens so fast.
But here's the thing. That's the bite that I had the biggest problem with. These are the things you try to learn from. It's been a decade.
Yeah.
If you learned from them a decade ago, why haven't we seen you learn from them and make better picks since? You really haven't. But I don't want to hear about learning from the 2015 draft in 2025.
And isn't his response? So let's just go back. Let's just take a look at this 25,000 feet. Kevin Paul DuPont's been covering the team for a long time. Kevin Paul DuPont says, I don't think your drafting and development has been up to standard. Wait. Hold on, Kevin. Wait a minute. What you talking about, Kevin? I don't agree with you. So Kevin gives his response. Well, did it turn out the way you wanted to? Well, let me just tell you. Let me push back on this narrative. And he basically confirmed what Kevin said.
Yeah. Okay. So
you can't make this up.
But before you go throwing stones at our draft, let me just say we didn't have the right guy in there to do it. We weren't ready.
He didn't have enough time.
We screwed it up.
It was
but
new.
Don't you dare say that we screwed it up. Having said all this, with the disappointing season and all of that, another fair question about the tickets.
Would you consider rescinding the 4% price increase for the season ticket holders?
Well,
on top of the 9% last year.
Was that Jim McBride?
No, that's DuPont. DuPont was in his bag yesterday.
Three-parter.
He was in his bag.
So this is back to the owner, Jacobs.
See, ticket pricing is a sensitive subject. I'm aware of that. Things cost more. The way our structure of the U.S. economy is based is things cost more. I expect that you probably pay your higher electric bill than you did last year. I know that we, for instance, pay more to open our building.
Yeah, you should see our light bill in this joint. Have you look up? Look up, guys.
Oh yeah,
there's lights all over this garden.
Wow, costs a lot of money. He gets better.
You're paying more for eggs, aren't you? You're going to pay more for tickets.
Every dollar we bring in, 50% goes to the players. We share it. We're in a partnership together with them. So the ticket increase, the price, whether it's 4% or 9%, is all going back into the hockey club. So we've made our decision. We've raised our ticket prices, and no, we will not be rescinding that.
He tries to talk his way around it or out of it, but that was a John Henry moment. Baseball players are expensive type of thing, and we know how that played.
Oh,
he gave us an economy lesson. He gave us. He's talking about capitalism and just how it works in the United States. This is how it works. I don't know if you're new to the country, but this is how it works here in the United States of America. See what we do, what we have here in our economic system.
I could just see all three of those guys going back to their three separate offices, opening in that lower right drawer of the desk, pulling out the bottle of Glenlivet, just pouring three fingers. Woof. That was a rough one.
Or the other way, or not three separate offices, going back to a suite, hanging out together, saying, you know what, that went well. That went well.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, I mean, good.
All right.
I like the way you handled DuPont. He's a pain. You handled that really well.
Good for you. Headlines here, and then Yahoo's put together the 20 best sports moments of this century. Will we be able to guess what they are? We'll find out next. Hold on.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
All right, you're dealing with erectile dysfunction, and you've tried pills, you've tried herbal.
Media Group station.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Celtics seized control last night against the Magic, even without Jason Tatum, on their way to a 109-100 win in Game 2 of their first-round playoff series. Jaylen Brown went for 36 and 10. Kristaps Porzingis had 20 and 10, while Derek White added 17. As Boston took a 2-0 series lead. Game 3 will be Friday night in Orlando. No word on the status of Tatum at this point. Elsewhere around the NBA last night, the Cavaliers beat the Heat 121-112. They're up 2-0 in that series. And the Rockets, even their series with the Warriors, 109-94 was the final. Jimmy Butler left that game for Golden State with an injury. He'll get an MRI on Thursday. The Red Sox fell to the Mariners last night, 8-5. Tristan Casas had a 3-run home run. His second home run in as many nights. The Sox and M's will play the rubber game of their series today, this afternoon. Garrett Crochet gets the ball for Boston. First pitch, 135. And in the NHL, the Capitals beat the Canadiens 3-1. They're up 2-0 in the series. The Stars beat the Avalanche 2-1 to take a 2-1 series lead. And the Kings dismissed the Oilers 6-2. LA is up 2-0 in that series. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Albrecht Auto Group, Zoe's Auto Dealer. Get respect at Albrecht. Now 8 locations, including the all-new Subaru of Wakefield. Thousands of new and pre-owned vehicles, all at the right price at albrechtauto.com. I'm Mark Dundaro for Boston's Home for Sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next update, 30 minutes.
Get the app.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
It's called rising and grinding.
Start your
Got
day.
your finger on the pulse, Fred.
Begin your
Seldom
day
right and never wrong.
right here. Is that Toucher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy without Fred and Wallach. So Michael Hawley and Mark Dondero are here. And now Adam 12 has something for all of us. 12, what is it?
Yes, I think it was Ryan. Was it you who found this or Nicholas who found this? It was Ryan. So thank you for Ryan for digging this up from Yahoo Sports AM. This week they put together, Kendall Baker and Jeff Tracy over there put together their top 20 sports moments of the century. That would be this century. So the first 25. You're seeing a lot of these, right? You know, first 25 years and all that. So just to give you guys a little bit of a preface so that you kind of know the direction that they took in when they're talking top moments. They're talking about like historical significance, something that transcended sports. They're talking about moments that happened during competition. Okay, so like the decision was a big moment, right? President Bush throwing out the first pitch after 9/11 was a big moment, but those aren't the moments they're talking about. They're talking about big moments in games, in competitions. So that's what you want to be thinking about.
Okay.
As you're as you're thinking about these top 20 moments, and I've pulled the top 7 or so that they put here.
Are we including the year 2000?
Oh, good question, Hardy. Let me kind of take a swing through. I guess we are, but none of the moments that I have selected involve that year. So
Okay.
you can eliminate that one from your brain,
All
at
right.
least with regards to the game that we're playing here. So
I'm gonna. So are we gonna guess, or are you gonna give us clues?
I'll
'Cause
give you-
I think we could probably guess a few.
You probably can, but the way that I have it set up is I'll give you. I've got a handful of them because if you start guessing, I got to start scrolling all over, and then the radio's not as good. I'm going to give you a clue, and then you got to tell me what the moment
Side
is.
with him.
Okay.
I do. I
want to
understand what he's
just
saying.
guess randomly, but fine.
You
You put no. It's your game. We'll play it the way you want to play.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The very first moment they listed is Mark. Remind me, Mark Dundero, where did you grow up? Where are you from?
Medfield, Mass.
You're a Medfield guy.
Yes.
You're a local guy. You grew up watching the New England Patriots.
Correct.
Their number one moment is a Patriots-related moment. And
He does
I'll
it
just,
well, of
wait a
course,
minute, hold
but
on
it's
for a
not as
second.
good as
Quiet
it
you.
could.
That's not what I want just yet. Sorry about that. I'm clicking on these.
The number one Yahoo sports moment of this century is a Patriots moment.
It is a Patriots. It is a moment involving the New England Patriots. And
Okay.
and it's okay.
All right.
I'll let you take a guess.
So it's not going to be the comeback victory against the Falcons.
It is not.
It is going to now. Is it going to be the snowball kick, or is it going to be the kick to win
Neither.
the first Super? Neither.
What is it, Michael? What do you think it is?
You got to look at it from if it's Yahoo Sports and it's the number one moment. It's an anti-Patriots thing, so it is losing to the Giants in the perfect season in 2007.
Interesting take. What do you think, Mark?
I was going to say it was Malcolm Butler's interception.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I'm going to go Vinatieri's winning kick for the Patriots' first Super Bowl win.
Michael Holley pretty much got it. It is David Tyree's helmet catch.
You got to think outside New England. They hate us. They hate us.
That one play. Ironically, that one play would be the final catch of David Tyree's career.
Which is the best part of the whole thing.
They
right?
hate us.
That's Yahoo's number one moment.
But you know why? But in all fairness, I have to say this.
Great catch.
It is. It's either the biggest choke job in Super Bowl history, or objectively the biggest upset in the history of the Super Bowl. You had a team that was undefeated with the lead in the fourth quarter with about 2 minutes to play, and that team lost.
Wow. Okay. Well, Michael Holley nailed it. You're 1 for 1 there, Michael.
All right. Then the second moment on their top 20 list here from Yahoo of the best sports moments of this century involves another Boston team, the Boston Red Sox. And if you guys can't crowdsource and get this one right away, I don't know what to tell you.
We know what it is. Right?
Okay, do we?
Yes.
All right, what is it?
Number one moment?
Yeah.
What is it?
2004.
Okay, but that's not a moment.
What's the moment, though?
Ground ball, stabbed by Folk. He has it.
See, that's what I would get this wrong, because the biggest moment to me was the Johnny Damon Grand Slam. That was the biggest singular moment. That symbolized everything that was about to change. So that's probably not it, but that's what I would say.
Based on what they went with number one, which was not the final play of the game, I don't think it's going to be the final out of the ALCS or the final out of the World Series.
And there's another one.
I'm going to say it's something ALCS related, though, as opposed to World Series.
And there's one more thing. And even though, all right, 12, tell me if I'm going outside the lines here. You said it's an in-game moment. This was an in-park moment, but not the game. David Ortiz, after the marathon bombing, saying, "This is our bleeping city."
That's a really good guess, and something that should perhaps make this list. But you were all in the right neighborhood. But Hardy's the one that came the closest.
Thank you.
Miller still waiting for his first pitch. Roberts is going. Posada's throw. Roberts safe.
It's the steal.
Wow,
steal. Number 2.
Okay.
ALCS.
Do you agree with that?
Steal.
Do you agree? I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, it was a huge moment. Is that it? I mean, that was game 4.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you think of the 2004 run for the Red Sox through the ALCS and into the World Series, when that pops into your mind, what's the first thing you think about? What's the first YouTube highlight you go to? Because for me, it's that. Every single time. It's the steal.
Just told you what mine was.
Yeah. That's a good one too, Mark. That's a good one too. But for me, I think they got this right, because for me, that was the moment where that everything turned on. That was the fulcrum, the steal.
Well, I would say it's probably like 5 on my list. I have Bloody Sock. I've got Johnny Damon Grand Slam. I've got Joe. I remember Joe Buck saying, and we'll say a play on what his father said. His father said, "We'll see you tomorrow night." Joe Buck said, "We'll see you later tonight," after the Ortiz hit in that same game.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I don't know about that.
And the only thing I'll say about the steal, you could argue if that doesn't go the Red Sox way, they probably lose. Everything else, if that didn't happen, they might not lose the game. They might lose the series if he gets thrown out there.
Fair.
All right. Let me give you another. Let's go into
A-Rod. How about the A-Rod in that little chump play?
Oh, the hamburger helper hands there with
Bronson Arroyo.
Bronson Arroyo. Yeah. That's it.
Classic.
We're going to go to college football. Okay, we're going to go to college football for a big college football moment, and I'll even. Well, you know what? I don't think I want to give you the year, because that might give it away.
I know what it is.
What do you think it is?
I think it's Vince Young scoring on USC.
Wow.
It's a good guess, but it's incorrect.
Yeah. What was bigger than that?
Well, they say that, again, this is from Yahoo Sports. This is their top moments of the
Use your Yahoo Sports knowledge and hatred, Michael. What is it? What does Yahoo Sports love? What college do they love the most?
So, top moment in college football. Would it be, I think a great moment would be Tua coming in relief of Jalen Hurts.
That's a good one.
It's a good one, too. They did not choose that. Hardy, do you have a guess?
It's not going to be Tebow related, is it?
No.
I
mean, the real answer just happened with Ohio State University winning against Notre Dame. I mean, that's the real answer.
Yeah,
I know
just
that's
throw
not
one more out there. It's probably wrong.
Sure.
Deshaun Watson to who was the little slot receiver that he played for the Raiders?
Hunter Renfrow.
That won the game. No,
That's a good one too. It's not it. It's the kick six.
56-yarder.
Oh,
Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
And win the football game they did in 2013. 34-28.
I was, what?
Kick six.
they didn't even win the national championship that year, though.
I would have picked Michigan State recovering the
punt?
snap on the punt and running that in for the touchdown.
One of the greatest calls from Sean McDonough.
Oh my God!
There's so many good ones.
What a game!
Who was it? Who converted on? Was it Alabama converted on like 4th and 17 or something like that to tie a game or to win a game? That was just like a couple of years ago. All right, but there are a lot of them.
Okay. Do you guys want to switch to the NBA?
Yeah.
Let's do an NBA moment.
Sure.
Okay.
I disagree with that college football.
Okay. This is an NBA moment that does not involve the Celtics, unfortunately. But when you think about the NBA Finals over the last 25 years, and you think of the stars of the NBA over the last 25 years, it makes sense that this moment would be highlighted by Yahoo Sports. This was a big, pivotal moment in a big series involving big stars.
Rasheed Wallace with the skyhook over the Lakers, 2004.
That was a great series, man.
No,
the one time in my life I've rooted for the Detroit Pistons.
You gave us a great, I think with the hint, I would say it's Cavaliers-Warriors, LeBron, Steph, and it's LeBron's chase down block.
Oh, wow. I mean, just
Did
come
you
on.
nail it?
That's a good one.
Back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
I mean, just
Great
watch
job.
that
That
on
was
a
a good
loop.
one.
Wow.
Watch that on a loop.
Watch the master at work here. Holly, well done.
Well, we got a nice assist. That was you threw it up. You threw it up right there on the rim. I was like, oh, there it is. This is the oop.
But between that and calling the Tyree helmet catch against the Patriots as the number one moment, you're on a roll.
But
you're on a
was
heater.
impressive. That was impressive.
Just got to think like a hater.
Yeah.
That's all. Just think like a hater. You'll be in good shape.
All right, I'll give you guys one. It's good advice, by the way. Think like a hater.
Think
That's
like a
good.
hater.
That is good advice
That's a
for
t-shirt,
life.
right?
That
Think
is
like
good
a
advice
hater.
for life, Michael Holly. I'll give you guys one more of this list. Again, is the top 20 sports moments of the century, this current 21st century, and this comes courtesy of Yahoo Sports. This is another World Series moment, but it does not involve the Red Sox. So think about the last 25 years of big World Series moments, and what do you think, aside from the Red Sox in 2004, is the biggest World Series moment?
Easy, but I don't know. Is it a specific play?
I mean, no, it is not.
Is it the Cubs in 2016?
It is absolutely the Cubs.
Okay,
Winning it all.
Here's the 0-1. This is going to be a tough play. The Cubs win the World Series. Brian makes the play. It's over. And the Cubs have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
So here's my question to the room. Who were you rooting for that year? Because you remember, it was the Cubs trying to end their 100-plus year World Series drought. It was also the Cleveland team trying to end their very long World Series drought. Did you have a horse in the race that year? Because I did. I didn't want to see the Cubs win.
No,
I wanted to see them continue to suffer because I think it's a great storyline. Let them go another 100 years without winning a World Series. They're insufferable fans with their old style beer and all that jazz. I had more of an affinity for the Cleveland team. Maybe that's because I believe Francona was coaching.
I was going to say.
Yeah. So you're rooting for Tito, right? So that was me.
It was Tito versus Theo. Theo, remember Theo there at Progressive Field? And he's there with his kid in Game 7, and they're losing, and they keep showing the kid, like, I know he doesn't want the cameras on him. He probably doesn't want the kid here right now if they lose, because you got to be gracious.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a sore loser.
And it
Your
went
kid is
7
there
games,
watching.
too, right? It went 7 games.
And
That
they had
made
a
it
rain
even more
delay.
dramatic.
Wasn't
That's
it
right.
the rain delay?
That's right.
Rain delay
that
turned
gave
everything.
them, that turned them around.
Yep.
I was rooting for Cleveland, of course.
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Yeah, no, who's going to root for the Cubs?
Can I just was the Vinatieri kick in the Super Bowl on the list?
Let me take a
I'm
quick
just
look
because
at that.
that
I'm
was
looking down here.
You could argue that.
Well, they did. The 28-3 did make the list. Malcolm Butler's interception did make the list as far as football moments, and I'm getting no, it did not. So
Really?
Wow.
How
That
about
was
when you
such
look
a
at it
huge
like
moment.
they had 5 or 6 football moments, and 3 of them involved the Patriots. So
How about okay, it's golf, of course it is, but how about Tiger Woods standing on the green
Yes.
on 12 at the 2019 Masters
Yes.
while his playing partners are fishing their balls out of the creek, and he's just waiting there, biding his time to win a major championship when people thought he was 10
that
years
was the
removed
number
from it.
3. Number
That's
3
not-
on the list. Yep.
Okay, but what moment? Just him winning, or
11 years after winning his last major, Tiger Woods overcame astronomical odds to claim his 5th green jacket at age 43. So they're talking about the whole.
the 72nd hole? I think he actually bogeyed. I don't think it was all that. It was a little anticlimactic to me. It was him just waiting on the green for those yo-yos to finish up whatever they were doing on 12. There at during that final.
What
round.
about the chip in 2005?
Oh, that's even. I mean, the
Yeah,
better one.
That
He'll
made
go
the
on
list
to
as well.
win.
That's on the list as well.
So
Those are
Tiger's got
those
2
are the
moments on the list?
and they're the only 2 golf moments on the list.
Really?
There you go.
No moment from my favorite gambler, Phil Mickelson, winning for the first, breaking his streak. It was like the same. It was the storyline.
Yeah,
the Red Sox broke their drought, and so did Phil Mickelson. It was it 2004, 2005.
Yeah,
Phil did not make the list.
The Mickelson moment is him ratting out his buddy Billy Walters in a room full of federal investigators and sending his friend to federal prison for 5 years while he got off scot-free. Only had to pay a small fine. There'll be a small fine.
Yikes.
All right. Very good, 12. Thank you very much.
Good work, gentlemen.
We are late, so we got to jump here, and we will have a guest joining us next. It is Mark Daniels. We'll get to that coming up here on Toucher and Hardy. for Mass Live. He's on Toucher and Hardy with me, Hardy, and Michael Holly and Mark Dondero. Mark, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, guys. Good morning. How's it going?
Ask Mark about his golf game. Think he's taking it up.
You got game? You got game, Mark?
Are you playing, Mark?
I started learning and taking lessons last May, and I'll be honest, I haven't stopped. So I've kept it going. I'm not a good golfer, but my goal is bogey golf, but I have fun with it. Yeah, I try to play every week.
Text me if you want to play, Mark. We'll get out.
I will.
It's deadly addictive, isn't it? And
it is.
And I'll go
my wallet.
the whole yeah, I know, but I'll go the whole winter and not think about being on a golf course. Don't care. It doesn't matter. The first time I play, that's it. The seal is broken. You know, the water is leaking through the dam, and I start to get itchy if I go realistically 2 days without either being on a golf course or just hitting balls or doing something outside. It's like once it starts, it won't stop now until hopefully, early November. That's it.
Yeah, and I have golf simulators around me, so I was doing that this winter. But as soon as you get out there, you realize, like, the lie is never perfect like it is the simulator. So I had all this false confidence, and I got out for the first time last week, and that evaporated pretty quickly.
Oh, I shot 80 at the old course in St. Andrews at Topgolf. I was 8 over, and I was feeling good about my game. And then you go out and well, we all know what happens. All right, Mark, have you had a chance to talk about the draft yet? We're giving you that opportunity here this morning. Has there been
have you had a chance?
Any discussion?
Yeah, no, it hasn't gotten old. I've only been, only wrote a 7,000-word draft preview, and I've been talking about this since March. I'm so happy it's here, guys. I'm so happy that we can actually talk about who they picked as opposed to listen, we're going to continue to debate about Will Campbell's arm length. I think that's going to continue throughout the summer and probably throughout his time in New England. But I don't know what else I can say about arms and wingspan. It's been the most I've ever talked or written about. So kind of excited to see how that unfolds.
Is it a foregone conclusion? Are they taking Will Campbell at 4 tonight?
I think so. I mean, I'm not reporting it. I'm not saying like 100%, but like everything I've heard points to Will Campbell being the pick at number 4. Listen, I was told by, sources going into free agency. I asked, like, what does Will Campbell have to do with your free agent plan? And what I was essentially told at the time was our interest in Will Campbell is dependent on what we do or what we do not do in free agency. And as we know, they had hearts in their eyes for Ronnie Stanley. It didn't happen. They weren't willing to pay Jalen Moore or Dan Moore. They sort of struck out on Cam Robinson. So they come out of free agency with just a right tackle. And I go back to what the source told me, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be Will Campbell at 4, right? Unless Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter falls. I know there are people inside that building who have had their eyes on Will Campbell dating back to last season. Like when things were unfolding, there were people like, oh, it would be good for us next year? Will Campbell. So like I had that information. I go into this offseason. I've sort of been leading this Will Campbell charge because I know there are people in the building who like him. Now, there's a new head coach, Mike Vrabel. He's actually the one in charge. Does he like Will Campbell is really the big question. And I think tonight we're going to hear, yes, he does. Because everything I've heard about Will Campbell, he is who Mike Vrabel wants in terms of the leader on the field, off the field. I mean, just last week, Will Campbell was in a children's hospital in Baton Rouge meeting with kids with cancer and handing them out iPads. Like, he's going to be a captain here. He'll be a leader off the field. And I think he'll be a starting left tackle. And from what I've heard, the Patriots do too.
Except he tried to hand the iPads to the kids and couldn't reach because his arms are too. I'm sorry.
The man does not own cargo shorts. We know that they're useless to him.
But let me. What would you do with this, Mark? Because Bert Breer is throwing out. Bert says, "Hey, if people come up in the draft into the top 10, they'd be coming up for Ashton Genty, and the Patriots probably don't want to make that move. If you have the Raiders in the market." Going from 6 to 4, the Bears going from 10 to 4, and the Broncos want to go from 20 to 4. Would you just kind of get a bidding war going, even if that took you out of Will Campbell range? Say with the Broncos, you had to go all the way back to 20, but you say you picked up a couple of second rounders. Would you be comfortable with that? You get a guy at 20, and then you have ammo to come back into the first round to get a tackle who's not Campbell, but maybe you get Simmons or Connerly or Banks or somebody like that.
I think the sweet spot there for me would be what you said with 6, honestly, because if you just drop 2 spots below, you're probably still getting Will Campbell. And that way you're getting the best offensive lineman in this draft. If you're going to 10, the Jets are probably going to draft a tackle. Now, maybe it's Armand Membu because they need a right tackle, and maybe that works out. 20 scares me because, like, the Pats are in a situation where their offensive line is just, it's so bad last year. They allowed 52 sacks. It was the 6th most in franchise history, the most since Pete Carroll was the head coach in 1999. So if I'm them, I'm either getting the top tackle or the second best tackle. I don't want to get in a spot where you're taking guy 3, 4, or 5, right? I just think it's such a dire need that going down to 20, you're going to start talking about Josh Connerly or Josh Simmons, and they might be good, but there are just question marks about one because he had a non-contact torn patella tendon. Josh Simmons, Josh Connerly, a little bit more raw, which is why he's a borderline first round pick. So, like, if you're telling me they can drop down to like 6, yeah, absolutely. Get it, stay ahead of the Jets, get the top tackle. I'm great with that. 10, you can make a good argument for me. 20 though, I'm a little more iffy on that one.
But here's the counter to that. If you are dropping down to 20, then you're getting more stuff.
True.
Yeah, you're further away from Will Campbell, but you got a lot more goodies to work with. Draft capital.
They do need a lot of goodies, I'll tell you that.
Mark, I know I don't have to tell you this, but obviously around the draft we talk a lot about hits and misses and draft picks and all those things. If Will Campbell ends up a guard in the NFL and they take him at 4, would that be considered a miss?
I have a hot take on this that Patriots fans will hate. I think Will Campbell is a safe pick because if, like what you just said, if you miss on him at left tackle, you're still getting a starting player at left guard. And I know people say you shouldn't draft a left guard at 4, and truthfully, unless he's a Hall of Famer, you shouldn't. But if the worst case scenario here is he turns into a starting caliber, above average left guard, I don't hate it, and I think it makes it safe. It's safer than, say, dropping down and drafting Tet McMillan. If Tet McMillan doesn't work out at receiver, as we know, guys, he's out of the league. And I think that's why those picks have a little bit more risk as opposed to Will Campbell, who I think if he's not a left tackle, he is probably a Zach Martin, Quentin Nelson, Logan Mankins-esque left guard. I can live with that. And I think for me, it makes it a safer pick. And I don't hate it. I know other people will, but if he's Logan Mankins, I wouldn't hate it.
But wait, hold on a second. If he's not a left tackle, Zach Martin is going to the Hall of Fame. You think if he is not a good left tackle, he's a Hall of Fame guard?
I think he could be up there. I mean, I don't know if he'll be a Hall of Fame guard.
Well, Zach Martin's a Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, Logan Mankins might not be an NFL Hall.
And Logan Mankins is really close.
Right? Like,
yeah.
I think he's nasty enough. He's athletic enough that if they move him to guard, he should be an All-Pro.
All right, Mark, I'm going through your latest mock, the one that you published yesterday. And although Mike Douso will be thrilled at you saying the Patriots have an edge rusher there in the 3rd round, I'm scrolling. I keep looking for the letters WR next to a player's name. I'm seeing a lot of defensive players. I see a kicker in here in the 7th round. No wide receiver for you in your final mock?
So my other hot take, which Patriots fans are really mad at me about this when I tweeted this out like 2 days ago. I don't love the top end of this receiver class. I don't think it's very good. The class isn't as good as last year. The Pats signed Stephon Diggs, Mac Hollins. If you can't get a legit upgrade, I don't see it making sense to add a receiver who's on the same level as Kayshon Boutte and those guys. So for my last mock draft, I focused just on I took like 3 or 4 offensive linemen.
Yes.
My hot take is don't reach for a receiver. Draft where this draft is deep. So after round 1, that should be defensive tackle, edge rusher, tight end, running back. Those 4 positions, they're just stacked in this draft class. I don't want to see them reach for another receiver in round 2. I'd rather them draft a starting caliber edge rusher or defensive tackle. So my hot take is if the guy isn't there, don't do it. Don't draft a receiver. And I understand the counter argument is throw as many darts at this position until you get it right. I don't hate that. But for my last mock draft, I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm going to stick where the draft is deep and draft those guys instead.
You know what? It's going to go down that way. Now I'm convinced it's going to be Will Campbell before it's going to be another O-lineman in the 2nd round.
I'm with you on your groans.
And I'm just going to be like, you know what? That grass isn't going to cut itself. I'm going outside.
Should have seen my mentions. Yeah, a lot of people are with you on those grounds.
Oh, I can't.
I wonder, Mark, if they. I'm going to say they. I'm going to put it on them. I wonder if they got it right. I keep reading over and over how bad this draft is, how mediocre this draft is. And I'm telling you, even bad drafts, so-called bad drafts, have multiple Pro Bowlers,
sure,
and Hall of Famers. What I'm rooting for is the chaos. I want to come back in 5 years, and I want this to be one of the best drafts in the last 20 years. I just feel like that is. It drives me crazy when people talk about bad drafts. It's almost an excuse to miss on players.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll tell you this. This draft isn't bad. It lacks top-end elite talent. There's two guys, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. What it doesn't lack is starting caliber players. It's actually a deep draft where, honestly, rounds 1 through 4, there's no excuse not to get a starter for the Patriots. Your roster is still bad. You've won 4 games 2 years in a row. You should come away with this thing at the end of the day. Like you're saying, we should look at this in 4 years and say, wow, the Pats got 4 legit starters. That's what they should do. That you have 2 picks in the 3rd round, an early pick in the 4th, an early pick in the 2nd. They could come away with 4 or 5 impactful players, and that's really how they need to look at it. I talked, like, after, this is going back years, I talked to someone after Gerard Mayo was hired about what they have to do to turn this around. This was a guy who was working in the front office at the time, and he told me, I think we have to average 4 to 5 starters per draft class for 3 years in a row to get this roster up to snuff to be a playoff contender. I'm not sure they did that last year, but they got Drake May. So what you have to do here is get 4 to 5 starters this year, next year, and really start to turn it out. And as you said, you do need some of those building blocks. They lack blue chip elite guys. It would be really nice to come away with this draft with like 4 to 5 starters. And I know people in the building feel the same way.
Just one more quick one from me, Mark. You have Elliott Wolf obviously didn't go very well outside of Drake May last year. It's still a little TBD. Now Mike Vrabel is in position. I don't know if Wolf put in his system from Green Bay or whatever that means. If the draft goes well or if the draft goes poorly, who do I give the most credit to, Vrabel or Wolf?
Yeah, if it goes well, I imagine people will give it to Mike Vrabel, and if it goes poorly, people are going to blame Elliott Wolf. I think that's how it's shaping up. It's honestly interesting. Tonight after the pick, we're only talking to Mike Vrabel, whereas last year after they drafted Drake, we talked to Elliott Wolf and Gerard Mayo. Tomorrow after round 2, we're talking to Elliott Wolf. On day 3, guys, it actually gets interesting. We're talking to Ryan Cowden after round 5, and then Elliott Wolf again after round 7. So a lot of hands in the bowl right now. So yeah, but honestly, that's how it's going to work out. If things go bad, Elliott will get blamed. If things go well, Mike will probably get the credit.
Oh, good for Mike Vrabel. All right, it's a nice spot to be in. All right, Mark Daniels from Maslow's. Appreciate the time as always. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's finish up our other draft here, shall we?
Yes, we should.
We're going to do that next. We have 5 players selected, combatants selected for the Sports Hub Deathmatch Draft. 3 teams. The final pick needs to be made. Lots to choose from. We'll do that next. Hold on. Jeopardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
About
Oh yeah, this is a good bet. Kendra was on my board. I think this is an excellent pick.
All right. Fine. Explain Milliken.
That's a junkyard dog. Okay,
Not a
that's a guy.
junkyard dog.
If you motivate him correctly, he will scratch, he will claw, he will bite, he will scrap, he will fight you to the death for the Boston Red Sox.
He will go to the 99 and he will eat boneless wings and he will say, "Oh, that's right. I had a rumble scheduled for today. I'm just going to finish off my wings here and then I'll be there and hopefully they'll still be
He
fine."
has to be motivated correctly. I sat next to him on the show on Monday and I felt the
You
energy.
felt something.
I
You
felt
felt something there. Like
That was the Red Sox game.
That's right.
That's a false energy.
You can find ways. The greats find ways to. If I'm leading this team, I will find a way to motivate him.
Okay, so you're Phil Jackson. He's your Dennis
That's right.
Rodman. Okay.
said, let him go to Vegas for a couple of days, and
Can
then
hook
come
up with
back.
Carmen Electra and
Come
then
on
do that
back.
fight.
And then you'll send Kendra to go get him, and you'll never see either one of them again. My team right now consists of Big Jim Murray, Tim McCone, who urged me to change my mind after I picked him. I said, no, it's too late, McBone. Michael Felger, and then what I feel are the steals so far of this draft. T-Bone, Tom Morgan, producer of the Midday Show, and Leroy Irvin.
I see T-Bone over there right now.
Final
Celebrating.
round.
You like that, T-Bone?
T-Bone likes it.
First chance I had to get you, I got you. All right. So that leaves us with one more pick each and a lot of names left on the board. Adam 12, Ryan Beaton, Matt McCarthy, Cerrone Battle, Dan Lifshatz, Nick Cattles, Chris Gasper, still available for selection, but only 3 more names will be picked. Michael Holley, you are on the clock.
See, it's interesting. There are a lot of good players here. I feel like if Gasper went, he could kind of confuse you in a fight by throwing some words out there that you don't understand. And as you're thinking there, trying to figure out the words, boom, he comes in with a sucker punch. But I'm not going to draft him. Hardy, you messed up my draft plan. I was going to go with the combo of Cerrone Battle and Leroy Irvin.
Oh, you can't.
They're a package deal.
You can't expect that.
With my extra pick, I was going to take them both.
It was like wanting to draft both Morris twins. They're not
Kid
gonna
and
both
play.
be available.
Run DMC. Come on, it's like come on, Eric and Parrish. You didn't get that hip hop reference, but anyway.
EPMD, I got you.
Simon and Garfunkel. You know what I'm trying to say. Damn it. But I will take Cerrone Battle with my last pick. The guy's name is Cerrone Battle.
I knew you were going to get hung up on his name.
But not only that.
I think he's a nice guy. Though.
No, he's not a nice guy. He has nice tendencies, but he can get nasty. He can mess you up. He's got some size, too.
All
I
right.
like that about him.
So let's recap for right now. Michael Holley's team, Beetle, Fred Toucher, me, James Stewart, Joe Murray, and Cerrone Battle.
Love it.
It's a hell of a squad.
As a matter of fact, Battle's going to be our captain. I'm going to make him the captain.
I'm not going to lie to you. All right. Picking for Ryan Johnston now, who had the first 3 selections yesterday. You get the final 3 today, Mark Dondero. So far, you've rounded out this team with Kendra Middleton and Tyler Milliken. Who will be your final selection?
Ryan Beaton, look into my eyes.
Oh, no. Oh, gee.
I'm going to go with Rye.
Oh,
look, he said,
I think he's got a little psycho in it. I think there's a little psycho in those eyes. Yeah, there is.
Psycho.
There is.
There's no psycho.
I could see it. And I'm gonna go with Rye.
He's tired. That's not psycho.
Nah,
That's
he
sleepy.
drives from Plymouth. I mean, I feel that energy.
He drives from Plymouth, and
there's something tenacious about that. I'm going with Rye.
You're going with Ryan Beaton.
Yep.
By the way, I failed to mention
Fighting the dog, baby.
for number 19.
Tatum pull up. It's good.
Hear every playoff game right here. Your home for Boston Celtics basketball. WBZ FM and HD1 Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Celtics seized control last night against the Magic, even without Jason Tatum, on their way to a 109-100 win in Game 2 of their first-round series. Jaylen Brown, he went for 36 and 10. Kristaps Porzingis had 20 and 10, while Derek White added 17 as the Celtics took a 2-0 series lead. Game 3 Friday night in Orlando. No word on Jason Tatum's status as of now. Elsewhere around the NBA, the Cavaliers beat the Heat 121-112. They're up 2-0 in that series. The Rockets even their series with the Warriors after winning 109-94 last night. Jimmy Butler left that game in the first quarter with an injury. He'll get an MRI on Thursday. The Red Sox fell to the Mariners last night 8-5. Tristan Casas had a 3-run home run, his second in as many nights. Sox and M's will play the rubber game of the series this afternoon. Garrett Crochet gets the ball for Boston. NHL Capitals beat the Canadiens 3-1. They're up 2-0 in that series. Stars beat the Avalanche 2-1. They take a 2-1 series lead. And the Kings dismissed the Oilers 6-2. LA is up 2-0 in that series. And the first round of the NFL draft tonight, that will take place in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Patriots, as you know, picking at number 4 overall. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Colossal Lobster Rolls at the 99. 100% North Atlantic lobster piled high on grilled brioche. Served hot buttered or with just the right amount of mayo and celery. You gotta love the nines. I'm Mark Dundeo with Boston's Home for Sports 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next update, 30 minutes.
Boston plays here.
Pressure, half court, it's in the air. He got it! He did it again!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, what's it like to work with Hardy and Wall?
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy here on 98.5 The Sports Hub with Michael Holley, Mark Dondero, and now Jared Weiss, who's the NBA writer for The Athletic. Kind enough to join us on this morning after a Celtics game, and we're in the midst of these first-round series. So great to talk to you, Jared. What's going on?
Good morning, fellas. Holly looks like he's having fun right now.
Oh, man, he put on that De La Soul. Stakes is high. I'm feeling pretty good. Say, like Hardy had no idea who that was.
Well, we got into a bitter back and forth here earlier when Adam 12 played the beginning of a Tribe Called Quest song, and he and Holly were just losing it because they had the ingenious, brilliant was the word used, move to sample Stevie Wonder's Sir Duke at the beginning of it. And I said, yeah, it takes a lot of brilliance to sample a great song and then put it at the beginning of your song.
Make it work.
What do you mean?
To make it work. It's not like...
Yeah, they kept the same tempo and everything. Brilliant.
But they changed it. They took part of the song and then added it to another part and then came up with a new creation. It's not like that chump Diddy, who's a chump for many reasons, who
what do you
would
mean?
just...
What reasons?
Many of them, who would just take take your work and just loop it and not change it at all and then rap over it.
But that's total crap.
Yeah, but this is not Tribe Called Quest doesn't do that.
All right.
No, Q-Tip was on a different level. He would give you the sample, then he would splice the sample into the song, so he would show you the kind of work he was doing.
Thank you, Jared. See, take your time, baby. Take your time. Take your time. Teach them.
We could do a whole Jay Dilla dissertation if we want.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. It's a different show. Let's do the show after the show.
Well, Q-Tip's got the timbos on the toes, and this is how it goes. 1, 2, oh my God. I mean, I know what you guys are talking about. I just, I push back on the use of the word brilliant. That's all. All right, Jared. So specifically, you are covering the Cleveland series right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm in Cleveland. I was just looking at the Tribe Called Quest stuff at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame the other day.
Oh, I have not yet been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I guess one day I will get there, but how much in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has nothing to do with rock and roll? Tribe Called Quest, I would say they can make a case better than a lot of names and people you see in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
They've done a good job of making it a music hall of fame. It's definitely slanted towards popular music and rock music, but they got a little bit of everything there, and certainly enough Tribe, that's for sure.
All right. So about this Cleveland series, because I heard it mentioned again this morning, Celtics prevailed last night without Jason Tatum, and as defending NBA champions, a lot of people are still looking at them as the favorite, but Cleveland. You've seen them now in a couple of games. We've been watching them, from afar all season long. How are they looking? How are they poised for this postseason?
Cleveland is having a very interesting series. It was up until the fourth quarter last night. That series looked kind of a wrap. It looked like Cleveland was going to march on to the second round. They are positioning themselves to look just like the 1 seed that they are. And then Game 2 Spo came to play. And there's this fascinating lore around Eric Spoelstra. He's one of the best coaches ever. When his team is down in Game 1, they win Game 2. They were 10-3 coming into this one. They came up just short. They're 10-4 now. They did it to the Celtics last year. Celtics ended up winning the championship. They're giant killers for at least that Game 2. In this game, they figured out how to use their star player, Tyler Hero, who actually looked like a star in this game. They're relying upon Davion Mitchell. And here's the funny thing is, number 45 on the Cleveland Cavs, Donovan Mitchell. Number 45 on the Miami Heat, Davion Mitchell. So we've got some great symmetry going on here in this series. And Davion Mitchell, who's been kind of tossed around the league, he's been playing really well for them. He's been like their second or third best player a lot of the time. And so Miami's figuring out how to kind of ride the wave of the Cavs shooting sprees during the game. And the Cavs ended up breaking a record for the most threes in the quarter in the second quarter of that game. And then Miami's just beating the crap out of them in the fourth quarter. They're getting stops, they're running. Davion Mitchell's just bowling over guys. Tyler Hero's running around like Steph Curry. Miami's figured something out here in this game too, and they came as close as they missed a wide open three in the final minute that would have made it a 2-point game. So they could have won this game. They're going back to Miami now. I wouldn't be surprised if they send this one back to Cleveland.
So we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I can't help it. The Celtics are still in a first-round series against Orlando, Cleveland against Miami. Now that they have their guys, assuming Tatum is back and Porzingis is fine for the Celtics, Cleveland with its guys, Boston with its guys, how's the matchup? How do you see that thing playing out?
I think Boston still matches up best. I think they're still the best team. And, I was on the air a couple months ago saying we got to give Cleveland the benefit of the doubt in this split right now. But Boston's been playing so well in this last month that they seem to be in control. And Cleveland, they do have a few things to work out. They're really reliant upon Donovan Mitchell to carry them in crunch time. So their process is great. And then they get to crunch time, and they're really relying on his heroics. And Donovan Mitchell's one of the best players in the league, so he's able to handle it. But they're going to need to get Evan Mobley more involved offensively at the end of these games. Their guards have to be a little bit better defensively in crunch time sometimes, so they're not getting bowled over by Davion Mitchell, for instance. And Boston, we're not seeing a lot of flaws at this point. They're going to pop up, and maybe shooting won't be great, and that's going to be an issue for them, and maybe Cleveland shooting is the advantage. But so far, we saw on that game too, Jalen needed to step up. He told Joe Mazzulla he'll do whatever it takes to win. He asked people, why would you think I'd say anything else besides that? And he went out there and he did it. There was a perfect Jaylen Brown game. It made up for the fact that the rest of the team played fine but not great. And Porzingis, even though he got his unicorn horn broken off, he still played hard, but he didn't hit a lot of shots. And I think the Celtics have the ability to get through those poor shooting moments better than Cleveland does, better than probably anybody does.
Jared, let me throw a conspiracy theory at you, and you can tell me how far off base I am. But I was just surprised, given that
Love a good conspiracy theory first thing in the morning.
Jason Tatum doesn't miss playoff games. He obviously hurt the wrist the other night in Game 1.
Well, he missed a couple in the finals series against Golden State. Oh, wait a second. He played in those games.
You're doing that thing.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay. Go ahead.
Physically, he's usually on the court. Okay. He gets banged up. It was a hard fall. He stays in the game. I'm wondering, do you think we all saw the clip of Joe Mazzulla yelling, "Get up"? Was there any chance that maybe Joe Mazzulla facilitated the night off to sort of protect Tatum, or because he felt bad that he was so demonstrative and yelling at him to get up, and this now makes the injury look a little bit more severe than it actually was? Is that ridiculous?
Yeah, I think Joe Mazzulla was worried about his best player's feelings, so he gave him the night off from his job.
Okay.
Joe Mazzulla would tell a 5-year-old that dropped their ice cream cone on the side of the street to suck it up and move on with their life. He doesn't care. He loves yelling at people. The happiest moment of his life and Kristaps Porzingis' life was probably when he saw KP covered in blood and he ran back out from the locker room. Like, the guy has a bloodthirst for basketball. He's not gonna. If JT snapped his leg in half, he would tell JT to walk it off. That's how Joe is. Joe balances love with unrelenting passion, and that's how he coaches. And, like J.J. Redick the other day made waves for he walked on the court and cursed his team out like crazy, and everybody on the team was like, that's just J.J. People forget basketball coaches yell at you. We're so used to seeing the way the NBA coaches have to operate. All these guys coming up the ranks when they were younger, they had coaches that would tell them they're pieces of trash all the time. Like, that's how coaching works most of the time.
That's fine, and I get that they yell at their players, but this was a little different because this sparked some conversation that Tatum wasn't tough enough, and there was a narrative sort of put out there based on kind of what happened. That's all. That's the only reason I was wondering.
Yeah, Joe does not. If there's anyone that does not care, Joe really does not care.
Okay.
There's been times where I went to Joe, I'm like, hey, I know that was probably tough what I wrote or what I said. Sorry. He's like, oh, I don't care. That was awesome. Like, he loves being criticized. He loves causing controversy if it sparks the right development and growth for the Celtics internally. So he doesn't care about that at all.
It's what Mark just brought up about this Tatum and his toughness. Do you question his toughness, and have you heard it? And people who question it, what do you think that's about? I'm legitimately asking. I don't get it, but it's out there, so maybe somebody can explain it to me.
I think that it's a fundamental misunderstanding of how JT operates, a misunderstanding of what consistency is. Jason Tatum is one of the most durable players we have in the NBA. The guy goes all out during the playoffs. Like, look at how much harder he plays during the postseason. It's like almost like Jimmy Butler level. He goes all out on both ends of the floor, doesn't miss games, plays 42 minutes every single night, plays through injuries. Like, the guy's played hurt many times. You don't realize it or you forget about it because he didn't miss the games. You look at these guys that are out for games, and then they come back, and you're like, wow, he's playing through injury. Well, JT, remember that time he rolled his ankle against Miami? And at the first play of the game, basically, in Game 7 of the conference finals, he played the rest of that game. We forget about that. He was out there. That's how tough he was. So JT does not have a toughness issue. He was weak. He was bird-chested, as they called him, when he first got to the league. The guy got yoked. The guy's tough. He drives through the defense. He takes on more physical pressure every single game than almost anyone else in the league. And, if you know how he works on the side, like how he works in the off seasons, you would never question it. And I think if people are questioning it, they probably need to read The Athletic.
Oh,
whoa!
And there's the plug.
Not
there
so.
it is.
I didn't pick up on the fact that you were plugging your employer there, Jared. So yeah, thanks for driving the point home. I was just thinking of how lucky Gordon Hayward is that Joe Mazzulla was still a couple of years away from being behind the bench. Otherwise, he would have been screaming at him to get up.
Right.
Yeah, get up, get up. All right, so. The thing that has impressed me, I guess, in this physical series against Orlando for the Celtics is that they haven't necessarily matched the physicality. I think the Celtics are confident enough in their own game to to where they're playing their own way. And this isn't hockey. You're not going to go out there and try it and match another team's game plan necessarily, but they're playing tough. You've got guys like Al Horford and Drew Holiday who are still doing what they do, and Pritchard being a pest. What I have been impressed with, though, is the intensity level of their defense without getting overly physical, although Derek White did get into some foul trouble late last night, and I think maybe he was flirting with it. But just defensively, Jared, that is what has impressed me about these guys. Along with Jalen's night last night, he stepped up when he had to, but they have made a less than good shooting team pay for it by not giving them any quarter, not giving them any room, and where you could think, you know what, we can probably just outshoot these guys and win these games. They haven't taken that approach. That's probably as much Mazzulla as anyone else, but you still got to get the team to buy in on defense, and they seem to have bought in through 2 games.
You can't compare their physicality because that would be like comparing Wolverine to Juggernaut and X-Men. It's like that's their thing, is they're big brutes who beat people up. They don't have the skill they don't have the shooting touch necessary to win the way the Celtics do. That's why the Celtics are the best, or were the best team in the league last year and might be again this year, is because they have all of it. They have the most important skill, which is that actual skill and that finesse and that shooting. That's the most important skill in the NBA right now. And they're the best at that, and that's why they're so great. So you don't have to worry about how they match up against Orlando. Orlando is trying desperately to match up against them, and they're doing a good job. Orlando's a solid team for, the lack of offensive talent that they have. And the series will probably be 4 or 5 games because Orlando just does not have that offensive firepower, that offensive creativity to keep up with what the Celtics can do. And that's how it's supposed to work with the Celtics. They're supposed to have good defense, and they lead with their offensive efficiency. And that works for them. And we don't need to worry about whether or not that feels right. It has proven itself to be right.
Jared, we're paying off a award season here. We saw Peyton Pritchard got the 6-man award, and Jalen Brunson Clutch Player Award. I'm wondering, this has been debated. Who's the MVP? Who do you got to give that award to?
I'm lucky I don't have a vote because I'm still trying to figure it out to this day. It's just like there's never a right moment. Shea deserves it for sure. Jokic, it seems impossible not to give it to him because of his individual performance this year. But you look at people try to calculate MVP as like how many games would the team fall off? And if you look at Shea, his team would probably fall off 15 to 17 games. And that would probably put him at pretty much where the Denver Nuggets finish in the standings. And so with Jokic, without Jokic, would the Nuggets win a single game? And of course, that's you're replacing Jokic with a average player or above average player that would play his position. Like, would the Nuggets even win 20 games? I don't know. So, from the value standpoint, Jokic is as valuable as any player I've ever seen in my life. It might be more valuable than any player I've ever seen in my life. Shea was just like most outstanding player on most outstanding team. I tend to reward the guy that was truly defining level valuable, individual output level valuable over team success because Shea is elevating an already great team. So I would vote for Jokic.
Jared, last one from me. Obviously, Jaylen Brown was the conference finals MVP, NBA finals MVP last year. He stepped up big last night with Tatum out. Jason Tatum, Celtics first team all-NBA guy, a little bit banged up now. Right now, who is the Celtics' number one option?
Jaylen Brown last night because Jason Tatum was out, and then when Jason Tatum comes back, it's Jason Tatum, and that's not going to change. JT is the holistic offensive engine, one of the best in the game, one of the best this decade, really. Jaylen is great at filling the kind of aggressor role that complements JT. And then this year, Jaylen really, really grew as a playmaker. Like, great progress as a playmaker. I think kind of crossed that threshold from being a scoring wing that could make plays to now being a legit playmaker. But JT is extremely advanced. Like, he's one of the most advanced playmakers in the league. He's really turned into kind of the perfect wing for the modern NBA. JT is the number one guy, but doesn't really make JB any less valuable. It just means that when you're looking at what defines the number one player on offense, which is how much are they controlling the offense at a holistic level, that is more JT's strength and more of his role.
You had it. What line did you say? Tatum is the holistic. What? That was a good man. That's man. You were in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
already.
You had some Hall of Fame songwriting. You were like, I'm going to try some of my own holistic offensive engine. Is that what you said?
I think that's right. Yeah, that's
about nice.
Right. Yeah, go ahead and use it.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Use that and just credit Jared Weiss of The Athletic when you do it. All right, Jared, appreciate the time. Thanks, buddy.
Listen, Holly, good artists create, great artists steal.
All right, thank you. I got it. And don't come back and ask him for royalties when I steal that from you. Okay, I appreciate it.
Right, or improve upon. Yeah, they made Stevie Wonder better. Is the next thing you're going to tell me.
I would never say that about the great Stevie Wonder.
Don't do that. Thanks, Jared.
Right, thank you, guys.
All right, there he goes. Jared Weiss from The Athletic. They would need to be better than a 6 seed, and they would certainly need to win their first-round series. But maybe a couple of years from now, will Cade Cunningham be in the conversation for MVP? I mean, without him, the Pistons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think so.
That turnaround they had is ridiculous this year.
And why? The way he's playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it falls largely on him. Not entirely, but that's what MVP is all about. All right, a lot of emails. 90% of them have to do with the Sports Hub Deathmatch Draft. So we'll get to those in our award-winning email segment next here on Toucher and Hardy.
The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Might be Michael Holly's favorite audio that
It really
play on this
is.
show.
I'm obsessed with it. I've got a great idea for me. It's a great idea. The email bit.
Let's do an email
Let's
bit.
do the email bit.
You can share in this if you have emails ready to go, Michael and Mark Dondero, as we are here doing Toucher and Hardy without Fred and without Wallach, and we have some Wallach-related emails. I would say many of these emails are related to the Sports Hub Death Match Draft. And I will lead right off the top here with Dave. It said, Hardy, it's going to be difficult for you to stay humble. That's the greatest team I've ever seen assembled. What a day, too. T-Bone, Lifshatz, Leroy is a big three to end all big
That is
threes.
that's a really good day two. Now, you can't just say it's a good, so you win day two, you win the press conference on day two. What's your team? Okay, the Phoenix Suns have Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, and they didn't make the playoffs. So you got to have a team, baby.
Yes.
Do you love your team or do you love your day two?
Look, I love my team. We are deep. It's a
And
deep,
you're a traitor,
deep
by the
squad.
way.
Why?
Because you're on my team.
What? Oh. That is the odd thing about this. It's a little strange.
Wait a minute.
It's a little strange.
You are a member of my team. Where's your loyalty?
It's a little strange, for sure.
So you're not actually managing the team. You're
he
on
has
his team.
He has drafted the team, and now he has to look from afar. How are they doing? The team that I created.
Right. Well, I mean, LeBron is playing for. Does the Fenway Sports Group? Do they have a piece of an NBA team anywhere? Is there? I'm trying to think if there's another example of this, of somebody playing somewhere who actually has an ownership interest in another team in the same sport.
Well,
there's got to be.
Yeah.
There's got to be examples out there.
Maybe.
Here's another one. This from Bob. He said, "Don't sleep on this guy. Last night I was watching Bare Knuckle Brawlers of Luxembourg, and I saw some dude get put to sleep with a patented flying wall dick. So apparently John Wallach, not a bad pick for Ryan Johnston yesterday, as he was assembling his team of Zolak, Maz, Wallach, and it was rounded out today by Mark Dondero with Kendra Middleton, Tyler Milliken, and Ryan Beaton."
Yeah, you really. I feel like you guys, your team, Dondero, you guys may have a Mike Vrabel, Elliott Wolf kind of thing.
The power
Yeah,
dynamic
it's
struggle.
Help our dynamic.
But it might be a tension that's good for the. It might be good for the squad.
Yeah.
Kendra, I was reminded here in a later email that maybe we'll get to, that Kendra does have some type of a belt in some type of martial arts discipline. Does this ring a bell, 12? Did she say this one morning?
It does. I'm forgetting what it's in. It is
Purple
a
belt, jiu-jitsu,
yes,
something?
It might be jiu-jitsu. I know that's kind of a popular trend right now.
Whatever
What
belt.
is it, Ryan, do you happen to know? Taekwondo.
So
Ryan
I have the
seems
only
to think.
trained fighter on my
Right.
team.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a savvy pick, Dondero. It was a
Thank you.
savvy pick in hindsight.
All I remember is whatever color belt Dwight has from The Office, that's the belt that Kendra has. So, there's something to be learned there.
Who's your guy in the trenches though? So we got Joe Murray, who can just win the trenches.
Yeah.
Who do you got a trench? You got a trench guy, Hardy?
Oh, yeah, because you have James Stewart. Somebody asked, how did James Stewart not get picked? He did get picked.
He did get picked.
Michael Holly has Beetle, Fred, me, James Stewart, Joe Murray, and Cerrone Battle. My guy in the trenches, I mean, T-Bone is every guy for me. T-Bone is, the guy out in front. He can be the guy down below. He can be the guy, covering the flank. He's going to be everywhere.
Turn his
for
head.
me.
It's maybe the best guy to have up front is what I'm saying.
You know what? He can hear you.
I know.
He's in that room behind you.
I respect the man,
Yeah.
and
Snap
I
you like
believe
it's
he respects
not
me.
like
And part of that is because of my honesty and authenticity.
All right.
I'm assuming my trench guy was made for. It was supposed to be Maz. That's what, scrappy, angry, pent up emotion from working with Felger all those years or whatever you said. I feel like that's got to be the guy that you go into the trench. Loyal. They've been together a long time.
Yeah, I think when we look at our teams and start doing an honest analysis, this is where we kind of fill in with undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
So, you got to look at some of the weaknesses on the team. I think you need a trench guy. If Maz is your trench guy, you got him playing out of position.
Okay.
So you may, look at the undrafted free agents and bring in somebody.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to have time for that. I thought maybe we would. Probably not. Speaking of John Wallach, by the way, and the bare knuckle brawlers of Luxembourg, where someone claimed to see him recently, he has posted another vacation photo. Have you boys seen this?
I have not.
Okay, so the only other thing I've seen from him from his holiday was the hotel room, which is absurdly small. I mean, it might
and he's
be
got just one room, the entire family. Or is it just
he says there is an adjoining closet for the kids. He called it a coffin-sized room next door. But the master bedroom for him and, as Cedric Maxwell refers to her, the lovely Mrs. Wallach. I mean, this room might be 72 square feet. It looks 9 by 8, maybe. Tiny, tiny, tiny. So he posted that. Oh, he did post 2 photos. One of the cathedral there at Notre Dame, inside and outside. Great. And then the one just posted a couple hours ago with Wallach saying, that's the Mona Lisa in the background. This is as close as I could get to it. And you can see there for yourself, Holly. Wallach seems to be having the time of his life in Gay Paris. It's just a miserable, miserable man.
That's really funny.
Which we told him it was going to be miserable. You're going to Paris with 2 14-year-old kids, and that's what Fred was hung up on, the fact that the boys are not going to want to do anything. They're not going to want to go to museums, churches. They're not going to like the food. I said, how could you not get like 2 actual hotel rooms, one for you and your wife, one for the boys? But he didn't.
So the time to take the kids to Europe is either when they're really, really small, you want to go, and you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for yourself, and you don't have anybody to drop them off to. So when they're really small, or when they get to the point where, hey, I'm thinking about studying abroad, 17, 18, 19 years old, but in between.
How old are his kids?
14.
Oh, okay.
They're
twin boys.
Not young enough
Yeah.
where you can just like, hey, we're doing it. And not old enough to appreciate it.
I will say that the Mona Lisa is underwhelming. It's smaller than you think.
Yeah. Oh, you thought so?
I thought it was smaller than I thought.
Wow.
Yeah, I was underwhelmed.
I enjoyed it.
I mean, I did not enjoy it. I just thought it was smaller than
I liked
thought.
all the other.
You don't like a small museum?
A small museum?
Yeah.
Well,
you said what was
the Mona Lisa?
Oh, the Mona Lisa. I thought you meant the museum.
Oh, the Louvre.
The Louvre was great.
The Louvre is great.
No, the
but
Louvre is the other one. Is the Musée d'Orsay, right? That's the smaller one.
No,
yeah, that's that. But isn't the Mona Lisa in the Louvre?
It gotta be.
It is.
It's the only one I went to.
It is, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a smaller painting.
Yeah,
than
we
I
saw
thought.
it.
Smaller
There's
painting, but
there's
it's
so many
huge.
there's so many other things to see there, and
There's a lot
what
of good ones.
you see the Mona Lisa because you have to, but it is underwhelming when you see it.
He should have gotten closer too. That's unacceptable.
All right. Well,
But the Louvre is huge.
It's big.
Um,
It's big.
Kendra is actually a brilliant pick. She has the upper hand because she can just kick everyone else in the balls. Yeah, but so can everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, like, there are
Without fear of retaliation.
exactly.
I get it.
We have no rules here. Of course, you can do that to anybody.
But Adam says that the Zolak pick, RJ's number 1 pick from yesterday, can be dealt with pretty easily in the death match. Just distract him with a tray of egg salad sandwiches, like behind the dumpster at the Star Market, which we know is Zoe's kryptonite. You just lure him away from the fight with that tray of egg salad sandwiches, and he's going to be useless to you. So
And then he might hurt the rest of the team too, because he'll eat something that everybody would be like, "What was it? What is this?" He'll distract everybody else in the team.
that could go poorly for.
So we've
everybody.
kind of. I'm just studying the weaknesses of other teams. I just want to be able to take advantage of all the little things I can.
Yeah, you're just game planning at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point.
that's all.
Only half listening, Alex says, but did someone pick Milliken and Middleton? Is this a death match or a basket weaving
Kilometers.
Hope they're not on the same cycle during the fight.
You try to keep Tyler away from the Red Sox, and he'll do what he has to do. That's what I'm counting on.
Would
So
you
that's
do,
right. That's
would you
right.
do- would you do me a favor right now?
Yeah.
Like before we go to break, because I want this to happen right now. Would you go into the other room and shake his hand?
Sure.
Okay, would you do that right? Seriously.
Yeah. All right.
So you feel good about your Milliken pick right now in the death match. All right. Go shake his hand.
Going to shake his hand. See, I think the fans are just looking at the surface. They're just looking at the surface and saying, "Oh yeah, go with the biggest person." But you got to know how they're wired. You got to know what they've been through. You got to know the crazy. The obvious crazy and the latent crazy.
Okay, so John in New Hampshire speaks to the crazy. He says, I hate to be the bearer of bad news for you, Hardy, and Michael Holly, but Kendra is going to sweep the entire tournament. She has Jacksonville crazy in her.
Yep.
An insatiable appetite for exotic cuisine and at least one belt. My prediction is that her team wins outright, and then she starts picking off her own.
I like that pick. There are a couple people, I got to tell you, there are a couple of people I really wanted. I wanted Leroy Irvin and Cerrone on the team.
Mark Dondero is back after shaking hands with one of his picks for this death match, Tyler Milliken.
All right, it was a little softer than I thought. But, again, I'm not deterred.
Hold on,
when
stop.
that thing's swinging through the air, you never know.
Stop. Softer than you thought. Did you think it would be the hand of like a 4-year-old girl who has been pampered her whole life?
It was I don't
because
know.
That's what it feels like.
Okay. And Mark
Beetle, have you ever felt a softer man's hand than Tyler Milliken's hand?
No.
No.
No. It's very soft. It almost feels like It almost feels like something's missing in there. Right? There's not enough bone structure, or there's firm ligaments that are just he was born without. Almost like there was something that was a birth defect.
I don't know that he can make it. I don't know that he can make a fist.
Can he use that to his advantage
I mean,
somehow?
there's something you'd want from that hand, but not a fight.
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about. I'm not relying on his hands. I'm relying on a hurricane of passion and maybe some body blows.
A hurricane of passion.
Yes. So literally body blows. Like he's going to smash somebody up against the bar
Maybe
like in a Bronx Tale.
Headbutt, sweat dripping off his face, grossing you out, lathered up. Yeah, passion, energy, intensity.
If he made a fist and tried to punch you, it'd be like getting hit in the face with that little room temperature dough they give you at Bertucci's. It would just, kind of mush against your cheek, and you barely, it's like, oh, that actually felt kind of nice. Once you do that, you take the dough and you kind of put it to your cheek.
Yeah, but if he was choking you out, it might be different.
Yeah, but think about it. It's also a fight. So if that happens to you in a fight, you don't know that it's just, you're like, oh, what is this? Is this some kind of is this some biological, some chemical thing that they're trying to break me down here? Am I about to melt? You could freak out not knowing what it is.
I like your pick of the 112-pound Ryan Beaton, who is half asleep in most of his waking hours, better than I like your Milliken pick.
I picked based on mentality. You're picking based on physical attributes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a physical fight.
It's the fight in the dog. Come on.
It's gotta have both. It's a combo.
Got to have both, but it can't be a softie and be 6'4". Why didn't anyone take McCarthy? He's big.
That's a good point. He's got reach. Sorry about that.
Not crazy. No, not crazy enough.
Undrafted.
That's gross.
All right, let's step aside. We'll come back with the stack and wrap this thing up here on Toucher and Hardy. Hold on.
We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Stack time, which means we're almost done here on this Thursday morning. Draft day. A lot of draft talk throughout the rest of the day, but there is something that Nick Gemelli put in this morning with the question, best lineup of 2025. He's talking about something called Riot Fest. Are you familiar with Riot Fest, Michael Holley?
Not exactly. No, tell me about it.
3-day festival, Chicago. This is the 20th year of Riot Fest, and they are going all in, pushing all the chips in. Now, Lollapalooza has gone from a traveling festival to a 3-day festival in Chicago, so this is kind of the new thing. You just make everybody come to you, and we're just going to put every band out there. So here's what they're doing. The Friday, Saturday, Sunday headliners at Riot Fest, which is, it started off as like a pure punk fest.
Yeah, it's pretty much a punk and hardcore fest to start with.
Okay, so now they're branching out a little bit.
What month are we talking about? When is it happening?
September.
September, okay.
All right, so good time of year.
Chicago, September.
Friday, Blink-182. Saturday, Weezer. Sunday, Green Day. Those are your three headliners. The support acts, Sex Pistols, Jack White, Dropkick Murphys, Bad Religion, The Pogues, which I'm down an important member or two.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it is nonstop 3 days, and then again culminating with headliners of Blink, Weezer, and Green Day.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad.
That's pretty good. And I bet, there are some, I bet you there are more acts there too.
Looks like Hanson is on the list.
Got some.
Okay, let me tell you about Hanson. All right? I will stand by this. Bop, great song. You may not like it. It may
What
remind.
makes it great?
It's catchy.
It's catchy.
As Chris Rock once said, it's a catchy ass song, man.
Gigantic.
You said that about living La Vida Loca.
It's a great
Or
song.
Living La Vida Loca, right? That's a catchy ass song.
Have you ever actually
bit?
hold on a second? Have you ever actually listened to the lyrics of Bop? Like the actual, it's actually a deeper song than you think. They're actually getting at something. I forget what it is, but I read about this once. They're actually getting at something more deep than Bop, whatever that is.
You have so many relationships in this life. Only one or two will last. You go through all the pain and strife. Then you turn your back and they're gone so fast. Oh, yeah, and they're gone so fast. So hold on to the ones who really care.
Oh.
In the end, they'll be the only ones there. When you get old, start losing your hair, can you tell me who will still care?
That's right.
Who will still care? Bop.
It's all you hear is
Ba
the
duba dop ba. Doobop ba duba dop ba. Yeah, yeah.
See, I hesitate to use the word, since you called me out on using the word brilliant earlier. I hesitate to use that word again. But it's really, I'll put it, that's smart. It's smart to do it that way. You kind of have, get something catchy, first of all. And then you can kind of jam in the philosophical, the fragility of life. You can jam all that stuff.
It's good stuff.
That's really a smart way to structure it.
One more thing to get to here, because Michael Holley will not be joining us tomorrow, and we learned yesterday that Michael Holley's all three dogs wear diapers.
Diapers.
These are diapered dogs because they pee in the house. Sometimes they will run out of the house, and when chasing after the dogs, a young man walking the street will say, "Are you looking for the dogs, the one wearing the diapers?"
Go that way.
Exactly.
Who needs a name tag?
Jonathan Davis from the band Korn has unveiled a new line of dog apparel under his Freak on a Leash brand. Get it? Freak on a Leash.
Great album.
So among the highlights are the 3-row and single-row spiked collars. They resemble the studded belts and straps worn by bands like Korn. And I'm just thinking, would you pair a diaper with a studded collar for one of your pugs?
You know what? It's a great thought, and I think I will. Because these dogs, Dundero, need a rebrand.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute. You have misunderstood us. You just kind of put us in these diapers.
What color are the diapers?
All kinds of colors.
Is it hard to get them on the dog?
No, you get used to it.
They've accepted their fate.
Like, look, I can do it in the dark. Boom, boom, boom. Wrap it up there. But the dogs are saying, no, don't mock us. We want the spiked collars. We want to branch out a bit.
Right. I may be wearing a diaper, but I'm still tough.
Yep.
Even though I'm a pug.
Yeah. I'll be the official pug of your of your media team.
I'm not the one that the lead guy in the household here tried to get rid of and had in the car and was ready to drive away.
had
Where
a
his
deal.
family stood crying at the doorway saying, "Daddy, don't do it."
Too bad.
Dot ba do bop ba dooba dot ba. Yeah. Very good. Dondero, you're going to be back tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Along with Andrew Callahan. Michael, it's been great. Couple of
It's
days,
been
buddy.
fun.
All right. Bertrand is back. He is in next. So stay with us. Draft Day here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Bye.